right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your friend Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always my co-host King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now listen guys, before we get down to business, you know the drill. If you want to join us, hop on over to Google Hangouts, send us an instant message with the email address that's on the top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That's boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Yeah, it's interesting. We didn't do a podcast this week because there wasn't a lot of things. There wasn't that much going on in the world of boxing. Then all of a sudden, boom, a lot of small topics come out. We're gonna talk about what's his name, Ryan Garcia. We're gonna talk, who just fought last night and had a tougher than expected outing. We're gonna talk about Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia. We're gonna talk about the ongoing Canelo-GGG 2 saga, some of the reactions that our latest videos have gotten. We also want to talk about this new rule that they want to implement about next day weigh-ins, and that there's going to be a limit now for those weigh-ins. And I say it's about time. About gosh darn time. Before we continue, let's give a shout out to everybody that's in the chat room. We got Pavel, Michael Palaco, shout out to Jay Perez. But what's Pavel saying? He's saying, I hope it's not the one that lasts 12 hours because I'm goddamn dead. No, we're not going 12 hours today. No, sorry, Bob. We got stuff to do. Jay Perez says, what's up, guys? Michael Palaco says, I know we haven't started, but Triple G has a look like I'm about to lose. A lot of disdain, like he signed up for a loss. We're going to talk about that. King Bucho agrees with him. But Tommy Boxell says Porter will body Garcia. Champion Killer X says Triple G, the first rematch, I believe, add to that actual bad blood from Triple G's side, so he may come in angry. Jason Nguyen says same day weigh-ins. Well, it's not necessarily the same day weigh-in that they want to do. They want to put a cap on how much weight a person is allowed to regain in those 24 hours after the first or official weigh-in, so that people don't balloon up to 20-25 pounds plus, which I agree with. I mean, I don't think guys should be. If you are fighting at welterweight and you weigh 160 the next day, sorry, you're not a welterweight. And I don't care how many times you can make that weight. Eventually, you will not be able to make it, and you are not a welterweight. You're a weight bully. It's the way I see it. Shout out to the Punisher. Shout out to Brandon White. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to brass tacks. I want to talk about Ryan Garcia. Let's start with Ryan Garcia. The king of the twinks, Ryan Garcia. He had a tougher than expected outing, and what the fuck? All right.
What the fuck is?
I think that's Ryan Garcia's theme.
Jesus.
All right, now listen, listen to me. Ryan Garcia, we've made fun of him during the podcast, but you guys know we're boxing fans and we respect anybody that steps into the ring day in and day out to make a living. And Ryan Garcia really showed his grit last night. He took on a tough opponent, Morales. What was his name? Carlos Morales. And tougher than expected. And you know what I liked? First of all, Ryan Garcia, he's got fast hands. He has that wow factor when he steps in the ring because of the hand speed, the flashiness, as I like to call it. And what I liked was he's a very cocky guy outside of the ring, you know, with his Instagram pages and all that. But he gave props to Morales last night. After the fight, he says, you know what? I thought the scorecards were a little bit too wide. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody complain about the scorecards against him. This guy's saying, yeah, look, Morales was tougher than expected, and I think he should have gotten a little bit more credit on the scorecards. So shout out to Ryan Garcia. He really is keeping it a little bit classy. But now the problem is, like Boxing Killers TV says in the chat room, he says he should leave Tank Davis alone. Now Tank Davis, he's only 23 himself, or 24, something like that. He's a very young guy. But so far, the opposition he's fought and beaten is a lot more than Ryan Garcia, whose best opponent is Carlos Morales, who he fought last night, and Jason Velez, who's a tough guy, but he's lost, I think, his last 5-6 fights or something like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Ryan Garcia, he's only 20 years old. He still has to get a little bit of that man strength in him. But overall, he fought very well. And it was only really because he started getting tired. That and he got hurt, I think, in the 7th round. It was all a combination of things. But look, people love to say, love to criticize, oh, this guy hasn't fought anybody. And then when he fights somebody and he struggles, people go, oh, well, you see, I told you he's a bum. Well, what do you expect? You can't have it both ways. Either he fights somebody tough and he shows you that he can get through those tough times in a fight, or you just want him to keep on fighting bums and looking like a superstar. You can't look like a superstar every time out. Even the last guy, Floyd Mayweather, who was able to escape undefeated, he still has some nights where he almost lost and he didn't look as good. And nights where he had to spend them running and clinching. I'm talking about the second Castillo fight, the second Maidana fight, the Pacquiao fight. I'm not saying he lost those fights, but what I'm saying is he didn't look all that great. No matter who you are, if you're fighting against well-conditioned opponents who want to rip your head off, sometimes you're not going to look all that great. That's all I'm saying. Butcher, what do you think? Did you catch some of the highlights? Did you catch the fight?
I saw the fight, yeah.
Yeah, what did you think?
Man, he's still not correcting those mistakes. I mean, he just looks awkward sometimes. You know, he's straight up, his chin sticking in the air. He has a lot of speed, but that's what... Because I think you have two types of counterpunchers. You have counterpunchers that are like Marquez, who are like actually... They're good counterpunchers because they actually time you. But then you have fighters that are just... They're good. They look like good counterpunchers, but that's just because they're fast.
Right.
But take away the speed and their timing is not there. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's happening with this. They were, oh, he's a great counterpuncher, but he's just the speed, man. Take away the speed, his timing is maybe not that great. I don't know. His chin hasn't been tested. I'm not impressed by this guy at all, man. Fuck, Gervante's gonna kill this guy, man. Like, that fight shouldn't happen, in my opinion. Not yet. Still, the guy just turned 20 years. That's what I heard. He's 20 now, and give him like 2 years. Let's see where he goes. But let's cut the fucking hype, man. Leave him on Facebook fight nights. Like, he can fight.
Yeah, but see, when you say, oh, let's stop the hype's really mostly coming from his promotional team, which is what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Which is understandable, but
I know.
Obviously, they're gonna have to continue the hype because that's their job, and
right. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is no fan.
He apparently has like 1 million followers on Instagram.
That's the other thing.
Probably gay people as well, because that's what
I went on his Instagram page, and not Instagram, sorry, Twitter, and I was just looking to. Okay, I'm gonna read through the comments and see who's commenting. Man, it's a bunch of chicks, and then they're not a bunch of heifers. They're actually good-looking chicks in there. And I think it was Cameron who mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, where he said that Mexicans, and it's true, that like Mexican women, they tend, even if they're not sports fans, boxing fans, whatever, they tend to root for the babyface guy. I don't know what it is about Mexican women. They love themselves a babyface guy. And Ryan Garcia has that. And here's the thing. You mentioned the styles. You said you don't like him. You're not impressed by his boxing abilities. The main problem, as I see it, is and you're right, he's chin up in the air a little bit, he fights straight up, because that's the way he's fought mostly as an amateur. Using his height, using his speed, taking a step back and then counterpunching with 1 or 2 punches, stepping back, counterpunching. And that's worked for him so far. But now you saw what happened against Morales. It wasn't enough, because this ain't an amateur fight. This is a 10-round fight, and after about 6 rounds, I would say, he started getting a little tired, and Morales was able to close the distance. That's when. Yeah, just let me just say that.
He actually have.
Well, let me just say that.
Okay, go ahead. Well, finish your point.
Yeah, I'll answer that question, but also, and by the way, can you hear me correctly? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, I think you were kind of like fading.
Okay, I'm gonna increase the volume so that if I do fade, at least the mic's gonna be a little bit hot, but. Hey, I gotta do what I gotta do, right, Bucho?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, just before I answer your question, and then I want to know your opinion about that. But Ryan Garcia, the thing is, once that whole thing about stepping back and countering with 1 or 2 punches didn't work, that's when he has to add new wrinkles. He has to add new wrinkles to his defense, not just because there was even a point when he started getting tired. Instead of stepping back, he would just stand there with his guard high, and he would take shots. He was eating hooks behind the guard. So he definitely needs to add more wrinkles to his game. Right now, he's still a bit in amateur mode. He's still a little bit stuck in what worked for him as an amateur. These ain't the amateurs anymore, Ryan. You got to step it up. You got to throw more combinations. You got to sit down more on your punches. As for his punching power, there was a video, Bucho, on YouTube where they're comparing him and and what's his name, Tank Davis. They're training. And definitely Ryan Garcia has a lot of snap on his shots. He's got those fast hands. They don't call him the Flash for nothing. But if you compare him to Tank Davis, who's smaller, shorter arms, Tank Davis definitely has more compact shots. He turns his body over and all that. Ryan Garcia, when he's throwing hooks, he tends to slap a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. All right, so his power, he definitely has a hand speed, which is going to surprise a lot of opponents, shock them. But as for knocking him out cold or whatever, he needs to sit down more and he needs to tighten up his punches. I mean, what do you think? Do you think his power overrated? Do you think he can improve it?
I was gonna say, well, a lot of boxers, you know, they start off their careers with a lot of knockouts because they're fighting complete bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Ryan Garcia being one of those fighters where, as he steps up in competition, that power starts to fade because he's fighting, you know, obviously better guys with better chins. So the speed's always there. The speed's always there. I think it's gonna be his biggest attribute.
Mm-hmm.
But the power, I'm not sure, man. That's why I was gonna ask you, like, how much power do you think he has? Because the commentators, they keep bragging about, oh, Ryan Garcia, he's so powerful, big, and not strong. It's like, I don't know, man. He doesn't seem that. I don't know. I'm just wondering if that power is gonna be there later on.
I think it is. I think he all he has to do is sit down on his shots a little more, tighten them up, and definitely he'll start hurting some guys. Because again, guys, look at those shots of his when he's on the pads and he's throwing hooks. Tends to slap a little bit with them. Oh, by the way, you telling me to call recognize?
Yep.
Okay, hold on a second. I didn't see the message. But yeah, so that's my take on Ryan Garcia, and yeah, keep him away from Tank Davis.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, in Tank Davis, if you think about it, that guy's two-time world champion. I know their belts are easier to get these days, but still, I mean, like you said, Tank Davis has fought way better competition right now. I don't even see the point of them fighting right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. What's the point? He's not even I don't even see Ryan Garcia as a contender right now. I still see him as a super prospect. You know, he's 20 years old, under 20 fights, I believe. I think he only has 20 fights. And he can't compromise his huge following of teenage girls and gay guys. Really, he cannot sacrifice that right now with a loss. He needs to keep winning, keep that undefeated profile going, which always helps in marketing, and just keep improving. Oh, by the way, I see that we got Recognize the Matrix on the line.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
All right. Recognize, are you there?
What's going on, people? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you very well. You working tomorrow or you got the day off?
I got the day off.
Uh-huh.
I got the day off.
But okay, you're not in an elevator shaft right now, are you?
Am I in a what?
Elevator shaft.
No.
Okay, good. I'm just asking.
I'm hanging out in the comfort of my own place.
All right, that's fantastic to hear, man. Now look, let's get down to business here, Recognize. Did you catch the Ryan Garcia fight from last night?
I didn't watch it last night. I didn't watch last night's fight.
May I ask, what's wrong with you? Are you not a Ryan Garcia fan? Are you not a Ryan Garcia fan?
No, I'm not.
Well, here's the thing.
Didn't you tell us that you follow him on Instagram, though?
No. That kid is...
Well, look,
well, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about him, like, the possibility of... There's no way he's ready for, like, a Tank or anything like that, right? Not that Tank, to me, is, like, this phenomenon that just can't be beat. It's just... I don't see nothing from him. I see him... I don't know. I just see him as one of Oscar De La Hoya's, for the meantime, little plaything, you know. And I don't mean that in a sexual way, although it could be. But
yeah, it's a very I had to unfollow him from Twitter because of his tweets. They were like really borderline homosexual. You know, and imagine I'm scrolling on my phone and somebody's beside me. He's gonna be, what the fuck are you looking at? Like,
yeah, you gotta watch out.
No, he's not impressive. Yeah, like I said, I agree with Recognize. He's nothing impressive. He's pretty fast. And he's young, so there's a lot of hope that he's gonna become a superstar. But whatever, man.
All right,
he's got all that hype for nothing, man.
Yeah, Recognize. What we were saying was that he definitely has potential. He has fast hands, good sense of timing.
He's tall also. I forgot to mention. He's 5'10", 135.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be staying there for a long time anymore. I think it's a matter of time before he moves up.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's what I'm saying is, look, listen. Yeah, go ahead, Recognize.
No, I was just going to say, if he, with that height, 5'10", and pretty decent hand speed, if he knew how to use that height, I think he would be somewhat of a threat just because of his height.
Right.
Or it could be a big threat to guys like short guys like Gervonta Davis or even Lomachenko. But because of the way he fights, he has no concept of. I was going to say he has no concept of range, but really he doesn't have any concept of anything from what I've seen so far. I don't think he probably should move up, and even if he does move up, he's more likely going to get sparked out at 140 or 147. If he knew how to box and use his height, know how to control, know how to dictate range, he could be a big threat at 135 or 130. He's fighting in because of his height.
Well, I do think he has been using his reach and controlling the distance, but then again, it's been against inferior opposition. I think that the more he spars and the more he fights better opposition, he's gonna start looking a little better. Keep in mind also, he's 20 years old, so I don't think we've seen him grow into his man strength yet, as it were. And also, like we were saying, he needs to sit down more on his punches, because right now he's a bit of a one-dimensional guy. It's always the same thing: step back counter with a check hook and a right hand, check hook, right hand. There's no uppercuts. There are not that many hooks. He did try to walk Morales down, I think, in the beginning of the 5th round or 4th round, so he was trying to mix it up a little bit there, but then Morales was just too tough for him on the inside, and what's his name, Garcia, went back to the same old thing. But by the way, people in the chat room, let's just read a couple of the comments. Jay Perez says, there are many other guys with as much potential. It's just about his baby face. Otherwise, he would be nothing. Young Kim the Dream says, where's the clip of Rolly trashing Ryan in sparring? Who the fuck is Rolly, and what clip are they talking about, Bucho? Anybody know?
I don't know, but Mateus Lee says, has he grown into his gay strength?
Well, that's a good question. That is a very good question. That gay strength can really help you out of a couple of holes, man. Not that I know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. The Fight Scout says he needs to learn no sex before the fight, including single gender encounters. My goodness gracious. Young Kim says there's a video of Rolando Romero beating Ryan Garcia badly in sparring after Ryan was running his mouth. No kidding. No kidding. I'm gonna look that up right now. Because again,
Cameron is in the chat and he says, I don't watch boxing anymore. He's like, that's why I'm not on Twitter anymore. I can't remember the last time I watched a fight, actually. He's like,
well, he's got a new job.
Cameron, man.
He's got a new job. He's I think a girlfriend too, and spending it at the beach.
He's got like, this is like his 6th new girlfriend that he's in love
3
with.
3 kids already and shit, I think.
And I think this is like in a span of 3 months.
He's the opposite of
girls that he was in love with, that he was planning to marry.
Right. Yeah. He's the opposite of
fucking male whore. Guy, you gotta come back to the light.
He's the opposite of Apology Man. You know, Apology Man doesn't want anything to do with women. Like he's a celibate.
Nah, he's gonna become a simp now.
Yeah, he's Apology Man probably already started college or university, as they call it in England. So he's probably right now. He's probably he probably got one look at his class and he saw all the young pussy there, and now he's thinking, Mig what? What was that again? Like what? Mig Tao? No, he forgot all about that, man.
He's gonna leave that alone eventually.
And he should. I mean, listen, I think the MGTOWs, they come up with a lot of good points. But to not live your life, to not get some pussy, come on.
We have Precise also saying boxing is trash. Another guy who turned his back on boxing.
Another guy who turned... Well, you know what? He's doing his work against the vegans. You gotta take a break from boxing every once in a while too, you know? You can't just... I mean, even we took a bit of a I want to take a bit of a break too with boxing. Especially in the summer where there was a period there where there wasn't that much going on. I was like, let me focus on something else. Boxing, as you start to getting older, you start realizing boxing isn't really your life. It's a big part of somebody's life, but it ain't your life. All right, Cameron is saying, recognize is Kodo's bitch. Recognize what? You always had Cameron Gillen's back. Now all of a sudden he's turning against you. I don't get that.
Yeah, you know, it's all about him and X. That's what it is now.
Oh yeah, X keeps saying that you're a cop.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which, by the way, why
Cameron believes him?
Why is that an insult to call somebody a cop?
Yeah, right. What's wrong with that? Even if I was, what's the problem?
Well, there you go.
What's the problem?
No, it is a problem. I don't know. But look, listen, Ryan Garcia, he's got potential. Good for him. He got a couple of rounds in there against a tough guy. He made it out of the fight, even though he got a little bit hurt. And you know what I like? Recognize, I don't know if you heard this part, but at the end of the fight, or after the fight rather, he said that he thought the scorecards were a little too wide in his favor. He said he actually gave Morales props and said, you know what, I think the fight on the scorecards should have been closer than they were. So this guy, you know, 20 years old, yeah, he likes to run his mouth a little bit, but at least he's a bit humble after the fight, which I always like to see.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, if the kid is saying that, you know, I'm tired of these bullshit, I don't want to be given these bullshit scorecards, these goldens in my favor, you know, props to him, but he's not going to do anything to stop it, right? I mean, he's going to continue to go the direction they tell him to go, and until they be a good fighter. He could be. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're taking him this route and giving him these favorable scorecards, even in a fight where he's winning and they're making it look more dramatic. Maybe with this kind of experience, maybe down the road he develops into a good fighter. Boxing, you can learn how to fight better with more fights. You should be actually. You should be learning something from the. I want to say sparring sessions, training camps. You should be learning something new.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Precise
from the experience.
Precise Carnival is saying that Garcia reminds him of Amir Khan.
I can see that, but I can also see the big difference, which is that he doesn't move nearly as much as Khan. Khan really had those rabbit legs where he would just hop all over the ring. Like, you know, he would weave under a shot and then he would take 3 hops over, you know, excessive movement. Just too much movement. Ryan Garcia is a little bit more complete.
Combinations.
I was going to say that, yeah, I always thought that Khan always had too much movement. Probably not the best thing to do for him.
But then again, I got to give Khan props. I never really saw him lose a decision. Every time he lost cleanly was by knockout. The Lamont Peterson fight, that was a very close fight. I don't know if he really lost.
I thought Khan won that fight.
Oh, you did? Well, you know what? We got a guy that
it was close, but I thought he won.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was close. It was close. I'm not saying it was a whitewash for Khan. By the way, we got Stu on the line, and well, we'll get his thoughts because I know he's a Ryan Garcia fan.
I wasn't bad. I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
All right, we got Stu on the line. Stu, are you there?
Yeah, what's happening, boys?
Good to have you on board on this Sunday evening.
What's up, lad? Yeah, I just had a little hour's nap, so just woke up. What were you talking about?
Oh, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about the one, the only, your favorite fighter, Ryan Garcia. Anyway, yeah. Did you catch the fight?
I'm gonna go back to bed then.
Now, did you see the fight? His fight against Carlos Morales?
No, I didn't actually. When was that then?
That was last night. What's the matter with you?
Exactly.
Oh look, yeah, I'm gonna stay up. I'm gonna stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning to watch Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean?
I gotta say, I'm disappointed.
I missed the fight. I mean, I looked at. I always look at the boxing channel, see what fights are on, and I didn't see anything up. So I take it British TV didn't take that Ryan Garcia fight either. So I'd probably have to watch a stream, which I'm definitely not going to do. So no, did he win?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing.
I think it's time we saw this guy in with someone half decent at least.
Well, he did step in against a decent guy, and he struggled quite a bit down the stretch. He was stunned by a jab. He started getting tired down the stretch. A little bit too much holding for some people's taste. But you know what? This is the type of fight he needed. He got challenged in the last couple of rounds, and he made it out of there. And he gave Morales props. So I think this is the type of fight that's going to help him.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to catch up on that fight then, because I'm not sure what to think of this kid, to be honest with you. You know, I'm not sure what to think of him.
What do you mean? You mean you're having strange thoughts about him? Like thoughts you'd never had about another person before?
I fucking knehe that was coming, man. I knew that was coming. Nah.
Did you know?
He's a young kid. He's a young kid, and he's got plenty of years to improve. I think he's a KO waiting to happen. But I mean, did you say that he faded down the stretch?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him do that, you know, before. So I think he lacks he lacks a bit of machismo and a bit of a bit of manpower, if you ask me.
John Gonzalez says that his fight was trimmed on the gay section of Pornhub.
Wait a minute. How would he know that? How would he know that?
Yeah, that's what people are asking. How did John know this? Of
course, John knows it. Come on, man.
My God. All right, let's move on from this fight, I guess.
No. Hold on. There's just one last thing, Bucho. One last thing, please. This fight was streamed on Facebook Watch. And I think it's the second or third time Golden Boy has done that, and apparently did the best numbers ever.
Yeah, I saw the numbers. Almost 70,000 people watching live.
So that's good for boxing, man. That he's bringing the young girls, he's bringing the homosexuals, you know, other type.
Everybody together, yeah.
Everybody together. That's what Ryan Garcia is a lot like BDA. He brings the world together into one neat little package, a utopia, if you will, where everybody can get along. That's what we try to do here.
Is he a communist as well?
Wait a minute. Are you accusing moi of being a communist?
BDA is a communist, isn't it? With his left-wing views.
I'm a Justin Trudeau fan, but that doesn't make me a communist.
Oh God,
we love Trudeau.
All right, let's move on from this because I think we've
All right, let's move on. Right. I have here Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia. Now I've been hearing that Kenny, it's Kenny Porter, his father. This guy controls all his money, apparently. Apparently, he said, like, oh, if Shawn Porter doesn't do what I tell him, I'm going to freeze his account or something. And then people are saying that Kenny Porter actually dresses better than or nicer than Shawn Porter. So I don't know if you guys heard anything about this.
Yeah, I've known for years that's the case with Kenny. Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter, it's a good relationship for a father and son, but it's a bit of a strange one where you've got a world champion boxer that's just like a little child around his dad, and his dad tells him what to do, and he does it. His dad controls his finances. His dad tells him who he can date. I mean,
no way.
I'm telling you, his dad does dress better than Shawn Porter because I think his dad's paying himself more than he is fucking Shawn Porter by the looks of it. He's going around with all the gold and all the garms, and Shawn Porter's the one that's getting punched in the face for it. So this is the only problem when this fight. We've got two fathers that live off their sons, and that's it. It leaves a bit of taste. I mean, Chris Eubank Senior is another one, you know, just living. I know Chris Eubank Senior's got a name for himself, but he's living his career again for his son, and he's made Chris Eubank Junior all about Senior, if you know what I mean. It's all about Senior, and he steals the show, he steals the press conferences, and I think that's the same with Angel Garcia and Kenny Porter. I think that, you know, very they give themselves a lot of credit for what their sons have achieved, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Has Angel and Kenny Porter talked shit to each other yet?
Well, in that video that I saw, they kind of indirectly. That's why I brought it up, because now some people are saying that it might play a factor in the fight. I don't know how, but because also Danny Garcia, Angel Garcia was saying, well, my son, you know, he can do whatever he wants. He's a free man. He controls his own money. So, like, basically, I think they're trying to say that there's some issues in Shawn Porter's camp, but I don't know.
Well, could be.
Well, I guess they're saying that he's controlling. You know, I don't control my son's finances and who the hell he dates or whatever, and what he's gonna wear.
Yeah, because that's what
they're both very loyal to their father. Because Kenny's more he's more of a mature man and respectable, but he could be annoying, and they're incredibly like loyal to, you know, Shawn Porter. Shawn is very loyal to his father, and Danny Garcia's father has to be one of the worst when he talks. Oh man, if that was my father, my skin would be crawling every time he speaks. But and you don't, it doesn't even bother Danny.
No, he's just smiling and shit.
Yeah, he's just smiling and shit. I don't know if it's real or not. It's just like.
Can I? You know what about Danny Garcia? yeah, that's a good impression. Danny Garcia, it's true. He does seem like a bit of an airhead. You know, he's just standing there. Like, he doesn't have much to say.
He's a block of wood, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's right. I mean, I know he's and so I think Shawn Porter
like
at least has.
He doesn't focus. He's focused on only one thing. You know, he's just.
Yeah, it's true, man. He seems like he's got no personality, and he seems to at least understand. Well, let me just let my dad do the talking. But even then, I mean, that the father too, he seems to be. And you know what? Zab Judah really hit the nail on the head when he said, well, Angel Garcia loves to talk and talk and talk when there's security around, and he knows that they're going to be, like, if there's an altercation, it's going to get broken up. But when they're face-to-face or alone or something, all of a sudden he's as quiet as a mouse, pissing on cotton.
Ruben Guerrero, what's his son's name? I forget. I know his father.
Robert Guerrero.
Right. Yeah. Ruben Guerrero, Robert's father. He had Danny Garcia. He had Danny's father shook, boy.
He's an OG.
I think Angel Garcia has actually harmed Danny's career in the long run. I think the Puerto Ricans don't like him, that's for sure. I don't think Danny Garcia is a big favourite amongst the Puerto Ricans. They don't even claim him as one of theirs. They don't even claim him.
A lot of them are not even aware of him.
Yeah, and I just don't think... That's why... I think that when you say Danny Garcia, a lot of people just think, oh, that piece of shit, and his dad.
No, he's not even a New York Rican. That's what he's a Philadelphia Rican. Like,
that's true. That's even worse.
So, like, oh my god. Well, they tried to promote him when he went. He fought Mauricio Herrera in Puerto Rico, and then he go back. That fight. I mean, he lost that fucking fight. So. Man, I think people were booing him, so it all went wrong, and it all went completely wrong, man.
Did you see the song that they have, like, for Danny Garcia? They had a song for him, a little theme song.
He's coming home.
Right, it was like,
yeah, that was a commercial on Showtime. He's coming home. It's like he's not even from there, man. He doesn't even speak Spanish. He doesn't speak Spanish, man.
My father, he came from here, you know, and I just want to do it for my father and his people. Shut up. You just want to get paid. That's what you want.
Yeah, that's what they're always...
It was a good move. They were trying to get the Puerto Rican fan base. I mean, that's more fans, more money, but it
didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
I don't think Danny's a bad lad. I don't think Danny's a bad lad himself, but I tell you what rubs me up about Danny. He just sits, like I said, there like a plank while his dad embarrasses him. And embarrasses himself and comes out with bizarre statements and racist statements at times. I mean, I don't mind Angel Garcia, but I'm just looking at it from Danny's point of view. I mean, I don't think he's done his career a lot of good, to be honest. I don't think he's done it too much harm because Danny's done well for himself. But I think Danny could have been a bigger name and a bigger fan base. I think Angel rubs a lot of people up the wrong way. I mean, the way he was with Amir Khan. I mean, I don't like Amir Khan. I think he's a tool. But it was disgraceful the way he was with Amir Khan.
Well, that is. He said.
What about the Chinese comment? And what about the Chinese and they pee and they
I think BDA wants to say something.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because he cut stuff. Remember, guys? So we have to.
Yeah, but I mean, no, it was just what Recognize was saying. He talked about the Chinese, and then against Khan, he talked about the Pakistanis, and he refers to them as Pakistanians, which I think that's from another country or something. But he's not afraid to get racial, and it's interesting because this is my point of view. When he used the N-word against Keith Thurman, which wasn't even the N-word, it was the N-I-G-G-A. And by the way, if black people really wanted to get out of their plight, they would just allow everybody to use the N-word, and that way, within 2 months, I guarantee you, nobody would care about the word anymore. But anyway,
didn't Camacho use it though?
Exactly, he used to use it.
Oh, and, hell yeah, hell yeah.
That was fine, no? That was fine.
No, actually, he got in trouble.
That got offended, but he didn't care. He was like, "What the fuck do I care?"
Yeah, that was actually much.
You could call me a spick. I'm not gonna get offended.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is what's his name? And people attacked Angel Garcia for calling or using that word towards Keith Thurman. I'm thinking, come on, can we stop it? Can we stop it with the fake outrage?
No, I don't think the Keith Thurman was a problem what he said, because I think where Angel Garcia is from, that's probably a regular word used, but I think it's just other comments he's made. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I get called a racist, so it's no skin off my nose. But I'm just saying, as a fan's point of view, a lot of fans are going to be rubbed up by Angel Garcia and some of the stuff he says. You know, a lot of people are butthurt and sensitive these days, so I'm sure he does rub a few people up.
Well, I'm pretty sure he rubs people. I think, being from Philadelphia, he probably robbed a couple of people in order to make it. Oh, by the way,
I can't say anything without BDA making a homosexual analogy.
Now wait a minute.
That's all in your mind, Stu. You think everything's homosexual. But
exactly.
You have to self-analyze yourself here. Man.
I didn't say are you. I didn't say rob as in.
I'll go back to bed in a minute.
But I didn't say rob as in a massage. I said rob as in hold somebody up. You know what I mean? Because if he's from Philadelphia,
well, he probably rough people too. You know.
Exactly. By the way, we got Jimmy on the line, so hold on a second. I have to stall now because you know how it works here. And by the way, we're talking about Danny Garcia versus Porter. When is that fight, by the way? It's this weekend, or?
Yeah, it's this week, September the 8th.
Fantastic. All right, I got the intro ready.
I had a bad trip at a wedding in Maine, and it was a stormy night, right? I'm on LSD. Oh, I was fucking freaking out. It was horrible. I'll never take it again.
All right.
What's going on, guys?
Good to have you on board, Jimmy.
How's everybody? Healthy, happy, going? All right.
Like always.
So what's the hot topic?
Well, we're talking about Danny Garcia. Yeah, Danny Garcia and Kenny Porter and Bucho and Recognize and Stewart were talking about whether Kenny Porter actually takes all of his money and controls his life as if he were still a kid. Have you heard anything about that?
The only thing I heard is they're very close and a very, very tight family. He was extremely strict growing up, and it's a very I guess you would take a crowbar to separate him, but he's got mad respect for Kenny. Listen, I'll tell you one thing about Kenny. He has to be pulled back because there's been many times where you could tell he wanted to go all in on Heyman, but he understands this, shit signed. But I heard that they have a very, very strong relationship. I heard Kenny raised him right, and I heard, one thing I like about Shawn, he's a good kid. Like, you're not going to hear about him doing something stupid. You know what I mean? Off the side. So, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like most father-son relationships, I always think there should be at least one other person in there not related because it's hard. You know what I mean?
I don't think it works. I worked for my dad for years, and I tell you what, for the amount of fallouts and arguments we've had, it's not good for the relationship when you mix.
Especially if you like each other. Are you like each other? Do you have a lot of same personality traits?
Well, he's a bigger arsehole than I am, so you can imagine.
But you know what I mean? Like, because when we see ourselves in other people, a lot of times we don't like it. We just butt head with it.
We've had fist fights. We've actually fist fights where we've punched each other in the face. Yeah, so it's not healthy. It's not healthy.
No.
But like I said, I do think Kenny's done some good things for Shawn. I think he's brought him up to be a respectable guy, well mannered. Do you know what I mean? He's a likable man, you know. So I think Kenny has done his part in that. I just don't like the thought of a world champion boxer, you know, an ex-world champion that's made millions of dollars with his dad having his little bank account for him and telling him how much he can spend. It's like giving him pocket money every day. Do you know what I mean? It's
the only reason why I could see that happening, maybe if a lawyer set it up where that way, if he can't get pried on, meaning say like you have access, you have a couple of million in the bank, and probably him after tax, say 300-400 grand sitting in the bank. Now, what happens if he gets like easily talked into somebody's like, dude, invest this, but he might have it set up where it needs 2 signers to take out more than say like $20,000. That way it's a false safe. You don't have to do anything stupid. You know what I mean? A lot of times you'll see shit like that set up. But if he's like at his dad, like running his purse, like he has to go to his dad to get gas money, then it's fucking something really wrong. You know what I mean?
But the thing is with Kenny Porter, he's like I said, he's giving Shawn
money, Dad, for some.
He's giving Shawn, he's giving Shawn Porter $100 to go out. Yeah, he's coming back with a $5,000 suit that he treated himself. You know what I mean? So that's my problem with Kenny. I think Kenny's paying himself far too much money out of Shawn's money. Let's just put it that way.
Meanwhile, Danny's father's going to Danny. Hey, Danny, can you give me a 20 spot so I'll give you a bag over there?
He spends it on strippers, and he doesn't mind saying it.
I take it. He's split up with Danny's mum then.
I think she's dead.
Yeah. His mother. And I got to say something about his mom.
She was all right. Apparently, she was quite nice.
She's not a bad look. She was a good-looking woman, man.
Yeah, she is. Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia's got 6 toes, though. He's got 6 toes.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, he's a freak, man.
Yeah, so somewhere there's a bit of inbreeding going along.
His father got a schnauzer. Danny's father got some fucking schnauzer on him, boy. His nose is like, definitely.
Well, his sisters have already under the knife, man. His little sisters have already had plastic surgery and shit. In their teens, they were getting diced up.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, that's really what he's been doing. He's been handling their career, trying to make them the next, I don't know, whatever they're comparable to, and amongst Puerto Rican, Latin. I don't know what kind of music. I'm assuming that's what it is, but
salsa. But
I saw them on a Sweet 16. Yeah, I saw them on a Sweet 16, one of those MTV type things. Wow, they're fucking. It's you can't look away.
Now wait a minute.
Where's Google now? BDA, take care of this.
Wait a minute. You guys, if you have a chance, look at the screen. Is that Danny Garcia? Is that his mother? If you look at the screen, you'll be able to see it.
Let me see what you're looking at. Oh yeah, that is his mother. She's hot.
MILF alert. We got it. We can confirm it. MILF alert right off the bat.
MILF alert.
Yeah, listen, she's not bad. The only thing that I would say is that, judging by the size of her next to Danny, who's like 5'9", 5'8", or whatever, she must be real short, right? Like she's like probably under 5 feet or something.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Look at those titties.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
I want to bury my dick in those titties.
Well, the sisters are really tiny. They're like fucking almost like, like circus folk. I mean, they got the little hands and shit. Oops, that's probably not PC. You might get flagged. Oops. I'll shut up.
We're already flagged for sure.
Sorry.
No, we're not. And by the way, Bucho, you were saying that the other day.
I saw something about Danny, and I reckon that as a young kid at school, I reckon he was just a naturally tough guy. When he used to have fights in the street, he'd win comfortably against bigger guys, just strong, could fight for hours. Do you know what I mean? Could take a punch, and I think he's just a naturally strong kid that can fight a bit. I don't think his boxing skills are great. I think They're good enough. Don't get me wrong, they're good enough. I don't think they're great, but I just think he's a natural fighter, Danny Garcia.
I've said that 100 times. I remember absolutely. Just in he's very robotic and slugged. He just is what it is. He's a tough Philadelphia Puerto Rican who's a fucking hammer for a left hook at 140.
And he's got a great chin.
He work hard enough to get back there because he's got no power at 147.
But also he's got a great chin. I mean, some of the shots he took from Keith Thurman.
Absolutely, cement chin. You can't. I'd be surprised if that kid ever gets knocked out. I don't really think anybody will stop him.
Some people are talking about Shawn Porter stopping him. I don't think that happening. He took Matisse's punches, man. Come on.
Nah, the only way I can see it stopping. The only way I can see it stopping is like Danny gets totally exhausted and
on a cut from a headbutt.
A cut from the headbutt. But I don't see Danny getting stopped. Not by Shawn Porter. Not by really none of these welterweights, to be honest.
Thurman caught him cold in the first 10 seconds of the second round, I believe. That was the best shot of the fight. And it fucking caught him right on the chin. Remember, like, Thurman jumped in thinking he had him hurt. Yep. Like, jumped in, but then Thurman right back out because he realized he didn't have him hurt. I mean, it did wobble his leg for a second. I mean, most welterweights, that fucking would have put you on your seat. Now, listen. I'm sorry.
So I was just going to say the shot he took a shot against Matisse, and the fucking the rumble, the rumble through my speakers nearly fucking popped them. You could hear that shot from where I was, man. I'm telling you, it was just clean. The fucking sweat was flying off his head, and he took that. He took it well, man, because that would have sparked most people out. This kid's got.
Tough. But it's a trade-off, though, because
if you stop Danny Garcia, it's going to be a combination of punches. I don't think you're going to do it with one clean shot.
No way. But it's a trade-off because you ever heard him talk? I mean, not to shit on the kid, but I mean, what the fuck? He's not going to be, a member of Mensa anytime soon. No, seriously, he's a dopey kid. Now, if you ever hit sad,
he's very. Like I said, I think he's autistic in a sense that he's just focused on boxing and he's not aware of anything else.
Yeah, I think Tank Davis is very similar. I mean, you could count the brain cells Tank Davis got on an amputated hand.
Oh, come on,
Tank Davis.
You're cutting off, man. You can't, bro.
Oh boy, yeah, you're cutting off there. Recognize you cut off, and I think I cut off too a little bit here. So
maybe some of these boxers who are always smiling, there's something wrong with them. That's what I think. They're constantly smiling. I don't know.
I don't know about
weird smile. It's a creepy smile and all, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean,
I doubt he took his SATs. Put it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a bunch of elitists here on the panel. Oh, he looks stupid. He didn't do well in his SATs. I gotta tell you guys. You graduate from the School of Hard Knocks. You're just as smart as anybody. I don't care if you're a PhD, master's degree, whatever. But but he definitely looks. I do agree with Recognize when he says he kind of looks like the type of guy who's just focused on boxing. And also, he has a rap career, I think. Amateur rap career.
Don't get started on that.
Well, listen, I'm just saying. It
seems like everybody has a rap career now. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Adrian Broner has one too.
Yeah.
Mayweather tried to have one.
Yeah, right. Having about 4 or 5 bars to your name is not being called a rapper. I mean, Danny Garcia just using his money, hired a studio for the day, and just mumbled a load of bullshit and made a tune out of it. It's terrible. I mean, Nez used to play it on the Boxing Boys. Can you remember it?
It's heinous.
Oh, it's hideous.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
It's
like
what
you
they
said,
call...
it's just money and too much time on their hand. I mean, they fight for Heyman, so I mean, he's fought once. No, seriously, what has he fought? Twice in fucking 2.5 years? I mean, it's nuts. They don't fight. Thurman, that fucking dude, come on.
Time to work on your side projects,
Exactly. They
plenty of time.
By the way,
Thurman thinks he's fucking John Lennon now, doesn't he?
Oh. Yeah, isn't he married to...
Feeding the pigeons.
As long as he doesn't have a yokel. But that's the thing about Danny Garcia is he's not even rapping. He's into that whole mumble rap thing where he just he's just repeating things over and over. And by the way, before we continue, we got Apology Man on the line.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
She just wanted the drama and you two to fight with her. That's what women do. All of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
All right, Apology's on the line. Apology. Did you start college yet? Apology. Oh boy.
I think he dropped.
He dropped
off. Yeah.
I think it's that intro of his. Maybe he was with a chick he just met in university and now he didn't want to scare her off. I don't know.
Maybe someone just uploaded a MGTOW video and he's going to watch that.
Come on. Why do you have to go there? All right.
Hey, so did anybody find out were they holding that Tyson Wilder fight? Did they announce the venue?
Nope. Hey, didn't Frank Warren say that he was gonna be announced like a few days after?
It was 2 weeks ago. Listen, they're talking about having a pay-per-view in October.
Oh man.
Think about it. This is September. That's next month. So even if they push it off until November, that's a pay-per-view. You know how huge that is? You know how involved it is? And you're taking two fighters who've never been on pay-per-view. Wilder's fought in Vegas once 5 years ago, or 3.5 years ago. So, I mean, this is crazy. So, to me, this fight isn't happening. There was rumors. I think, Stu, you said that you heard he was thinking about backing out. I think you said on one night.
No,
you said that, Stu.
There's rumors going around that Fury's not ready and he's going to pull out and fake an injury. But then the news coming from the Fury camp is that there's no way he's pulling out. He's taken the fight and it's nearly signed. So I don't know. All I know is that all this noise about the Joshua money that Wilder's camp had, somehow got together. All this 50 million that he offered Joshua. I've just found out there's Frank Warren that they were getting the money off. That was going to be on BT Sports. So they had to go to another UK promoter to get $50 million for the American champion. I mean, it's a shambles. It really is.
I've seen the chat is calling it Fury versus K 2.0.
Well, yeah, Fury pulled out of that one twice. No, Hay pulled out of that one twice. Sorry, that was Hay's fault.
So really no shit. So Wilder's people had to not go to Heyman, obviously. So I think that pretty much convinces right there. That's pretty much a rubber stamp on the money's gone. You know what I mean?
The thing is, Joshua's getting called a coward for not taking the fight, but Joshua's and Eddie Hearn signed to Sky Sports. If Wilder if Joshua had accepted the contract from Wilder, Wilder's team would have had the TV rights, and they were going to give the TV rights to BT Sports, who were going to put it on pay-per-view, because BT Sports were going to put the money up for Wilder. So
people calling him a coward, that's just fucking stupid. Listen, you want to say you're being greedy, you're just trying to get as many paydays as you can in, fine. But to call him a coward, that's when people, you can't call anybody who's willing to step in the ring a coward. Never mind him, you know what I mean? He already showed he in a coward. He got up off the fucking mat against Klitschko, showed big heart. You can't call a kid a coward. That's just silly.
That's the new thing.
Something else. Jimmy, what do you think about the PBC announcement that they extended their contract with Showtime?
That's almost a no-brainer, right? I mean, what was the, okay, let me put it this way. What was the option?
Exactly.
They had no option. All they did was
gonna go, yeah.
Exactly. So the only other edict was we buy more blocks off of networks, put random shitty fights on. No, there was no option. It was Showtime, or you fall under another umbrella. Either Bob Arum takes all your guys off you. No, listen, what it was Heyman said, listen, hey, it is what it is. I mean, in all actuality, all the PBC is now is just the name of Heyman's advisory company. They are Showtime fighters, exactly what they were before the PBC started. Nothing's changed. So he's just saying, basically, they went public with their, okay, I'm going to stay with you. I'm not going to, break this up and start, selling off fighters to other promoters.
All right, now here's my question.
Wouldn't you be better off, though, just cutting that camp down, because that PBC camp is a big camp. He's got to find all these guys fights. Wouldn't it be better cutting that in half with quality rather than quantity, and then just giving the top?
He's got 200 fighters signed, right? Over 200 fighters on 24 slots.
Hang on a second, Jim. If he cuts it down, right, and then gets his big fighters more fights, he's going to make more money. He's trying to keep everyone happy. You can't do that. He's got too many fighters. He tried to get greedy, and now he's got fighters that are settled and happy and looking for other options. And what can we say? It's his own fault.
Well, I've been trying to find out what happened with the court case, and I've been, stonewalled, and they want me to spend all kinds of money to get into certain public documents, because I want to find out what happened with the Waddell and Reed, if that's going on, if there's most likely a postponement, which is, they're right, but you're only allowed so many postponements. But that Waddell and Reed is going after Ivory Group. Ivory Group is the company, a subsidiary group, that gave Heyman all that money. And right after he gave him that money, the guy who facilitated the deal went to work for Heyman. So that's the reason why that's not going to go away. They're going to want to know, and he's going to have to show where all the money went. I don't know if they're postponing it, like I said, but yeah, there was no options. There was absolutely no options. That's the only place. But there's 24 slots, right? And if you start, and I think even if you count the Friday night thing they do there, the minor league Showtime segment, there's 24 to maybe 28 slots a year. You have over 200 fighters signed. So that means you're hoping, you're not hoping, you're depending on them being opponents for other networks. I mean, how are you going to sit your guys down and try to tell them?
There's rumors that Fox is going to make a deal with, or PBC is going to make a deal with Fox, but why would Fox be interested in that? They probably know that they're going to be showing those shitty fights that they will be showing on Fox already. So I don't know. I don't believe this.
But yeah, exactly. Now imagine if you, even say the guy in charge of sports programming at Fox, that dude's pulling down $500,000 all day, right? A year. Would you risk your job, especially with what's the last two things? I can't remember who headlined both these last two PBC on Fox cards, but they were horrible. I mean, they were the numbers, the viewer numbers were beaten out by reruns of the fucking Good Doctor. That new Doogie Howser thing. Listen, horrible numbers. Fox, they don't care about boxing. They don't care about anything. They look at numbers. Bang, what's the numbers? And they saw that, threw up in their mouth. There's no way they're going to turn around and say, okay, now we're going to offer you millions and, leave it in your hands. Ain't happening. That rumor is exactly what it was.
Well, let me just take the time here to address two things. Number one, shout out to Michael Palaco, who made a generous contribution via the Super Chat. Thank you, Michael. You keep the BDA planet rolling. Now, as to that whole thing about the PBC, Jimmy, you said they're running out of money, or they ran out of money, and essentially right now it's just an advisory company. Here's my question, and I know it's a hard one to answer, but do you think that with this new Showtime deal, they're going to do what they did to HBO and what they did to Showtime back in 2014, that they're going to start putting on a bunch of mismatches again? Or is Showtime going to take a bigger hand on this now, take the lead, and demand more competitive fights?
Yes to the second part. Steven Espinoza won't let that happen, thank God. No, Steven Espinoza, believe it or not, really is a boxing fan, and he's a very ambitious dude, and I don't think he's going to let Heyman. He has too much control. That's the reason why you're seeing these dogfights on the Fox, because obviously Heyman had probably things in writing. He had owed these fighters, and Espinoza's like, no way, you ain't putting that shit on my network. So I think you're going to see, because remember, Espinoza wants to beat fucking HBO. There's bad blood there and shit, so he wants to kick Peter Nelson's balls in, and he wants to do, but there's a reason why it's in hiatus right now. They're waiting for a reflex, which should be happening soon, if not this week. Maybe that's why they made the announcement. They probably get their budget, the new quarter budget. But yes, I think it will be better, but it's not because of Heyman. It will be because of Espinoza. And again, that's just my opinion.
All right, so thank you for clarifying that, and also thank you to Steven Schneider for a contribution himself. And he says Thurman is starting a cult in Florida. You know what? Wouldn't surprise me if he's part of a cult. He seems to be like the type of guy. And by the way, did you guys see that video from a couple of months ago? I think it's from a couple of months ago. Some guy is going up straight to Thurman's face and saying, "Hey, why aren't you fighting Errol Spence? Are you scared of him?" Like, it seems to me like some fucking random. I think it was like a Mexican or something, some fat Mexican.
Yeah, he was a Mexican.
It was a Mexican. All right. giving us a good name. But he went up to Keith Thurman and he just started clowning him. And Keith Thurman, you know, he didn't lose his cool or anything all that much, but he did start going back and forth with the guy a little bit. And I'm thinking, come on, Keith. I mean, I think you're a little bit above that. If somebody calls you, like Jimmy said, or anytime that somebody calls a professional fighter a coward, yes, it's true. Relative to other boxers, some are more courageous than others. But trust me, Keith Thurman ain't no fucking coward. I think he's just a guy who, because of the circumstances with the PBC, and because maybe other factors in his life, I think he's taking a bit of a break here. But he's no coward, believe me.
I think Thurman. I think it's definitely a PBC and a Heyman thing. I think he feels like he's been mistreated by them. He's the guy that you know, he won the belts. He was the main man in the division, and it seems to me that PBC are trying to feed Thurman to Spence and to Porter and to Danny Garcia and to anyone they can get their hands on, man. It seems that Thurman's the guy they don't want with them belts. That's the way I see it, and I think Thurman's noticed this, and I think he's doing a bit of an Andre Ward, throwing his toys out the pram.
I'm starting to think that he's pissed at Al Heyman because Al Heyman wants to like put him in an Errol Spence fight.
Yeah,
instead of getting him to fight with Manny Pacquiao, like he's like, wait a second, motherfucker. I want the bigger payday. You're supposed to be working for me.
Yeah,
he was offered that.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I know he was. Yep, you're right about that.
Yeah,
he was offered that fight.
Yeah, he was
not really offered to come to the table. He was offered to come to the table.
Well, they threw $6 million at him, a $6 million offer, and I was told that he was like pumped. He wanted to do it, pay-per-view, everything, and of course, Heyman put the kibosh on it.
Yeah, because he's trying to feed him to Errol Spence. And by the way, at that time, I didn't think it was a definite guarantee that Spence would beat him. But you know, and he's probably seeing it like, why are you trying to get me this fight where it's like less money? It's a risky fight where I could take a risky fight in Manny Pacquiao and get paid. When you're supposed to be my fucking advisor or whatnot.
In my opinion, too, just real quick on him, I just think like Stu said earlier, this is his nature. I think honestly, he's just not at his nature, especially now with a few bucks in his pocket. He's just not a fighter. It's not like what he wants to do. I think he's more drawn to music because if anytime you see somebody talk to him, it's never about like you have to bring fight talk out of him. He much rather talk to you about philosophy, music. You know what I mean? He's a thinker, so you know what I mean. I got to give the kid credit there, but I don't think he's. If he goes back to fighting, I think it's only because obviously be for the money only. I just don't think he really.
Have you noticed that spite has gone from Thurman? Thurman used to be quite spiteful when he used to hit you, mean intentions, the ferociousness of his punches, man. You could hear him through the screen, and I just think he lost that killer instinct. You know, and like I said, he become a bit of a hippie, didn't he? And
yeah, exactly. Dickie Eklund, Mickey Ward's brother, said something to me when we were kids. He's like, you know what happens with fighters? He said he goes, they're like rock stars or music. He's the one who made the analogy. He said, once they become fucking wealthy, the music sucks. They lose their edge. You know what I mean? That edge, the raw edge that, you know, drove and made good music. Remember one night we were actually doing drugs together and he said that, but I remember at the time it made some sense to me. But yeah, no, as you think about it, a lot of times the money ruins them. Takes that fight, that drive out of them.
Yeah, he definitely lost that bit of hunger, I think. But I still think that it's a thing with Heyman, a contract thing. I don't know how long this contract is. Maybe he's trying to see it out, do what Mikey Garcia did. I think he wants out of this Heyman contract. I think he feels like he's been treated. I don't know if he's been treated bad because he's still made a lot of money and he's a world champion. Well, he was. So
I heard it ends this month.
But you know, at the end of the day, I think instead of building this guy up, you know, giving him a few easy fights, they're sticking him in with all the guys from PBC that tough fights, like I said, for less money than the Pacquiao would have made him.
Yeah, I bet that comes out. I have a feeling that's going to come out.
I think it's just more to than meets the eye. I think I don't think it's just because Keith Thurman woke up one day and wanted to be a fucking hippie and live in the mountains of Nepal. I just don't think that's the case. I think there's more to it than.
I think they were all promised. Like I said, I think because Floyd was right in on it. Why do you think Heyman was the only time you see him in public since the PBC started was at the fucking Conor McGregor fight? He had to show his allegiance to fucking Floyd. You know, Floyd made his name in boxing. Seriously, that's the only thing he's really done, and that was after Arum took him to the dance. But I think that's what happened. I think they were all promised the Floyd plan, and none of them got it, and there are a lot of people pissed.
In the chat, Nino Gaggi says, "You're right, Jimmy. Them dudes under Heyman just don't fight enough." Who's Mean Machine Mash says some fighters lose the hunger after struggling for so long. And Jason Nugent, sorry if I mispronounced your name, does seem like Heyman favors Errol Spence Jr.
He does. And the thing to like add something to what Stuart was saying about. Or it was either Stuart or Jimmy. I forgot who said it, but I thought it was a good point about him showing his allegiance, Heyman showing his allegiance and being there for the McGregor Floyd fight. You see, I think that's why a lot of these fighters signed on with Al Heyman. Al Heyman is like that fucking lawyer that gets some kingpin out of prison, and he's able to pass his card around every respectable kingpin, right? And say, hey, listen, I'm that guy that got this guy out of prison. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's thinking they're going to get the same deal, but at the end, they don't. They're not going to get that deal. A lot of it is their fault as well, the fighter's fault, because, say what you want about Floyd Mayweather, he was already, a personality in the boxing game. You know what I'm saying? He was already, when he went into the Heyman deal, he was already, Pretty Boy Floyd, and then money. He
already fought on HBO 19 times. Just wanted to say that,
Exactly. So he was pretty much a product in the boxing world. So Al Heyman really didn't do the job that it had mainly. I'm not saying Bob Heyman didn't do a good job. It's just a lot of it is overblown. That's Floyd Mayweather himself.
So you're blaming the fighters for going with Heyman?
Right, because they basically they're looking at what happened with Floyd Mayweather and saying, man, this man could do that to me. He could do this for me.
And I'm telling you, Floyd was in on it. He was on the conference call with every one of them, absolutely selling it because he got a slice. I guarantee you're going to find out he made money off it. I'm telling you.
Of course,
he used them. Yeah, it's a good. I mean, for Heyman, that's smart. You get fucking Mayweather in there in the negotiations. But can you guys blame the fighters for doing that though? For going with Heyman after what Heyman probably.
Not today's culture, not in today's world with this tribalism right now. It's almost cut right across the racial lines. Every black fighter in North America ran to Heyman. It was nuts.
That did happen. It did happen. Like I said, I think if the early guys, they probably signed up thinking, yeah, this is a good thing. Especially people like I've mentioned before, Collazo getting like $1.5 million to fight Thurman. I think
Jeez, did Collazo got $1.5 million?
Yeah, I think he got $1.5 million to fight Thurman. So this is the sort of money these guys were getting. That Heyman was throwing this cash around. So I think as Heyman kept signing more and more fights, I mean, Heyman signing Eastern European fighters. He's got no business signing really. What's he going to do for these European guys? So he should stick to trying to build the guys he's got from America. But he's just trying to get every fighter he can. And what he's trying to do, he's trying to make it to like a UFC where you're in house and that's it. And it failed, I think, because
they had belts. They had PBC belts ready.
Yeah, but who would have took that?
But if everything went to plan, there would have been no other promotional companies. He was hoping that taking all of Golden Boy's fighters, and he really thought he had Canelo too. So he thought Golden Boy was done. Then he thought, Bob's old. He's only getting, not that many guys. He's not going to be able to battle me. And he thought main events and everybody else would just fold under his umbrella and he would run the whole show. And then by cutting out hundreds and millions of dollars over the long run in sanctioning fees, because the bigger the fight, the bigger the sanctioning fee. And if he owns that too, he would have had, that was his plan. And he said it before he started, he said it 10 years before he started the PBC to the executive at HBO. I can run this show if I wanted easily. And he said, the guy from HBO said, he must have told me that every time he spoke to me for 4 years. The guy was quoted as saying. So this was in his mind. He was going to take all the shit over. The fans are stupid. The fucking fighters are stupid. I can run this. My Harvard-educated slick ass. And it blew up in his face. This is a fucking very entrenched for over 100 years, a lot of shit going on, and he just didn't happen. Just didn't happen.
All right. So on that note, let's move on to something else. I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you guys heard about Canelo. He wanted to use this new brand of gloves. No boxing, no life. I think that's the brand. And apparently he won't be able to use those gloves because Abel Sanchez complained to the commission, to the Las Vegas commission, saying that those gloves have not been proven or tested, and so therefore the gloves will not be used. What do you guys think about that?
Like in Canelo, they got no fucking padding in them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's kind of weird that he wants to use. I mean, I think his trainer uses those. He's the owner of that brand of gloves, so that's why he wanted to start promoting them in the fight. But I don't know. Abel Sanchez said no. We don't want to use. We don't want Canelo to wear them.
Canelo borrowed fucking Louis Resto's old gloves and wanted to use them. I think. So, I mean, you can't be wearing gloves that haven't been tested and haven't been approved by the commission. And then this is the thing.
Well, they were approved. The commission approved them. They said but then because Abel Sanchez complained saying that they haven't been tested in a long term. In the long term, we don't know if they're going to break after the 8th round or something.
Yeah, I mean, Abel Sanchez, he's always finding something to whinge about, isn't he? Let's be real.
All right, so nobody has anything else to say about the gloves.
I mean, fuck it. This fight, this is the thing with this fight. It's always controversial shit in it. It's always something. So if it's not the
mind games,
it's the steroids. If it's not the steroids, it's the weight and everything else. It's just.
Well, just to me, it shows how much tougher the guys, how hard it was to be world champion back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Remember before I mentioned I was going to tell you what they used to do with gloves? Back in the day, they would hand them to the trainer. You would get them 2 hours before you fight. They would call it the break-in time. And so my grandfather showed me the trick. He took a brand new pair and he said what we'd do, we'd put them on the fighter's hands and would take our finger, anything to make a scrape. So you just basically, he'd have his fighter bend it so he'd see exactly where the knuckle point was and he'd scrape it. And then he would sit and work it, bend it back and forth to crack away all the material pretty much. And then back then they used to also be able to use cotton wraps. So once the sweat hit that, I mean, cotton wraps sweat under those gloves. It's almost like a cement cast. And those gloves will work. So by the end of the first round, it was just basically leather over the fucking with a 1/4-inch piece of material over a cast.
Damn.
So that's why it was Carmen Basilio, those pictures, their face getting all fucked up. Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, when you look at the Margarito and Louis Resto incidents, I mean, they're just two people that have been caught. And I don't even think Margarito got caught on the actual night. So this is just one guy that's been caught. But how many times can we go back in the archives and pick out fights where there's a guy that's probably got loaded gloves? Back then, there was no guys in the changing room checking them. They just brought the fighters out and that was it. So you can bet your life.
Nobody signed it.
And you can bet your life there's probably someone been killed in a boxing ring thanks to someone with loaded gloves.
You wouldn't believe that. I mean, he used to show all kinds that would just add plaster Paris. They used to just keep it in the material so the sweat would turn it hard. But again, they would nowadays. I think they collect your wraps automatically. They cut them off, and the commission collects them.
You have to sign them, don't they? They get someone to sign
them. Exactly. They started that in the 90s, I believe.
Well, yeah, I think after Louis Resto, weren't it?
Yeah. It was crazy though. No, he showed me. It was nuts because he took a brand new pair of gloves out. I was a young kid too, but he showed us how much he could work that material. And of course, he did it for years. But it was nuts. I put it on. I'm like, really, Pepe? That's fucking crazy. You guys? And he goes, yeah, that's why their faces look like that. Because his face was all jacked up and shit. But.
Well, it brings to mind the issue
I think there should be a rule. You can use a certain amount of gloves. You use the same size gloves, and that's it. Well, let's not argue about what fucking brand they are, and and he's got to wear these gloves, and he's got to wear these ones, and just let fighters wear the gloves they want, as long as they're the same fucking weight. That all should matter, really, isn't it?
Did they still make them out of kangaroo hide? Because I know they banned kangaroo hide on a lot of like domestic wears. I don't know if they. Because back when they were kangaroo hide, they were didn't cut you the least. They were soft. Certain gloves rip your skin. That's why I see a lot of guys cake on the Vaseline.
Yeah,
some gloves
the Chinese
are known for cutters. Some gloves are known for good knockout gloves. Some are good for protecting the fighter who has bad hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one Floyd's wear. Floydie wears.
The winning gloves.
Those are Japanese, yeah, the Japanese gloves. But you know, the Chinese gloves, I think they use rat hair to make those gloves. I don't know. Listen, the point is this: did anybody watch the 24/7 they did for Canelo Triple G for the rematch?
Yeah, I did. And
what did you glean anything from it? Like any comments about Canelo's overall attitude in that one?
Canelo is a. It's hard to. Okay, this is what I get from Canelo. I see a bitter, tough guy who's losing his. He's losing the plot, to steal a term from Stu. You know, he's built this tough guy reputation that he'll pretty much, you know, get in the ring and fight anybody. But I just believe that him being exposed from the whole PED testing and some of the words that Triple G has to say about him, it's making him look stupid, right? It's making him look dumb. Okay, I'll give you an example. He'll say, you know, Golovkin is like, look, I don't hate the guy, I just lost respect for him. That's it. Just basically, I lost respect for him, but I don't hate him. Canelo is like, he's getting personal. Like, who has he fought? You mean besides you? Like, oh, you're dissing yourself. Like, who has he fought? Right? Like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, when you count you in it,
that's true.
Not really much. Yeah. You know, like he's letting his anger get the best of him. And I think that could get him fucked up in the ring. That'll get him fucked up really bad. Like, okay, the one thing you don't want to do, this is the one thing I've learned from boxing. You don't want to go in the ring angry, agitated with a puncher, a guy who can fucking punch, because they'll be over. Okay, you're gonna make a mistake. He's gonna clip you with something you don't see coming. That's the danger part, right? So if he's saying stupid comments like this, leads me to believe, because I do believe your emotions play into a fight. Okay, I do believe that. If he's not gonna be aware of what he's saying, he might not be aware of what he's doing in the ring, and might not even make it 12 rounds. You know, that's what I'm starting to pick up from him.
Well, if he shouldn't go in there as a fight, you know what I mean? It should not be. If he's going in there to fight Triple G, he's going to lose.
He's going to get blitzed.
If he needs to go in there to box Triple G, you know what I'm saying? If he goes in there like, this is on, you motherfucker, let's just do it. Triple G hits harder, and I think you know what I mean? I think they both got great chins.
I don't even think Canelo. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I don't even think Canelo. Okay, for anybody who's boxed, you ever when you're fighting somebody, I don't even think he can lose patience, not even once. Meaning, when he starts hitting his man and he's starting to gain a rhythm, don't even try to stand your ground and commit to too much punching so you can stop him, because I think right there he could get knocked out. I think he can get hurt.
I say it all. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say one more thing. He is displaying a man who's, like Stu likes to say a lot, he's losing the plot. He's saying things that contradict him. You know, him as a person. You know, insults like how many champions have Triple G got in the ring with? Like, who has he fought? They're always trying to pretend that they want to fight the best fighters. Well, they've been chasing you, you faggot. Like, what are you saying about yourself? Like, what do you know? Seriously, like, what are you saying about? So you're saying he's ducking other people except you. You do realize that you're dissing yourself, right? He sees you as nothing.
He's a fag.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're making a good point. You make a very good point about how he's shooting himself in the foot, because instead of saying, look, he's a great fighter, but this time I'm going to be better, now he's saying he hasn't fought anybody. Well, the guy who hasn't fought anybody beat you in the first fight, so I mean, we all know what happened in the first
right,
fight.
and is willing to fight you again with no problems.
Exactly.
Still willing to fight you.
Exactly.
He's viewing you. So you're dissing him, saying he's ducking other guys, but he views you as shit. He doesn't see you as a threat. Is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
absolutely.
How many? How many champions has he fought? Who has he fought? He's not interested in fighting the best. Well, maybe you're right. Like you, like maybe he doesn't consider you the best.
Right?
Well, I just think that's pretty disingenuous of him to say that when he's telling him if he fights Darenchenko that he's backing out of the fucking rematch. And then to turn around, to put that on him to say, because I'll tell you right now, Triple G would have fought Darenchenko. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think would have slept that kid. But
yeah, I think so too.
Remember, Canelo straight up said, Oscar said, because he didn't want, he's like, no, because I have my theories on that. But it was straight up. They made it public. If you fight Darenchenko, we're not taking the rematch. So don't while you're sitting there on a suspension, pigeonhole him on who he can fight and then badmouth on who he fucking takes on. Because that was a jab towards Martirosyan. Because in the past, Triple G, it's not only that the good guys, some took money not to fight him, other guys openly admitted they swerved him. What he did to the guys who were in front of him, he can only fight who was put in front of him. And when he dispatched people in the manner which he did, and Rubio and shit, people like instantly from listen, that Irish kid was a tough fucking kid. He put out tough dudes. Rubio, you might say what you want, but this guy, you know what I mean? He did to people that nobody else would do. You know what I mean? Did that to those guys. So I just can't stand that shit when they start picking apart his fucking resume. That really irks me.
Right.
I think Alvarez is upset because he knows he's not stupid, just like we know that there's a lot of fighters been getting away with taking steroids, and he thought he was the golden goose.
Yeah.
And he's the one that the media's attacked, the boxing organisations have gone after, the drug organisations have gone after him. Everyone's gone after Canelo, and I think he feels like he's the victim here. Because let's be real, he knows that Floyd was on roids when he fought him. We all do.
Of course he did.
I could tell you
the only way he was going to get the fight.
Real quick, I could tell you what I was told. The only thing I heard about Canelo that he was said, like somebody said, yeah, this is what I know was said around Golden Boy. He was bullshit at Golden Boy. He felt Oscar didn't do enough for him. He was pissed that he was suspended. He felt that Oscar should have paid somebody, should have done something, whatever. He just felt that they didn't do enough for him. And that's why right soon after that, you start seeing the WBC come out, because I'm sure they were like, listen, they don't want to lose him, but imagine getting caught and then you're taking that attitude. So that tells you right there, it works right to the whole diva.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm noticing about this 24/7 thing that they have on the fight is that this guy's like he's that much of a diva. And again, I can't say like he's more so than anybody else because he's the only A side that's gotten caught, right? For whatever that's worth, he's the only one. The other A side got covered up for more. He got covered up for as well, but the other one, Floyd Mayweather, was really covered up for in terms of him and his situation and Canelo's situation.
And there lies the bitterness because of that,
right? And
because fucking Floyd got away with it. He's like, wait a minute, he gets caught doing bags and nothing happens.
And this guy is like, what the? And he's going about it the wrong way.
Because he's the biggest name in boxing, right?
He's making insults.
He's the new Floyd.
That is coming back to him. The insults are going right back to him, and he's not even aware he's doing it.
Someone is saying this is a Triple G channel.
No, whatever.
Well, look, listen. Yeah, listen. Can I say something about this?
I never made no claims that. First off, I'm not media. You know what I mean? I'm here to talk boxing. I know the game of boxing. I'm going to have my favorite fighters. Triple G's one of them. When he retires, I will still follow boxing. But yeah, he's one of my favorite fighters, and I'm not going to apologize for that. But
I want to say something about that.
He's a great fighter. I like Canelo too. He's a very good fighter too.
Allow me to say something about this because last year when we did a bunch of videos in the build-up for the Canelo Triple G fight, we would make a video about Canelo's power, and then the Triple G fans would come in and tell us that we were Canelo fangirls. Then we would do a video where we gave Triple G props, and then the Mexicans would come out and say that we were Triple G fanboys. So one thing we learned right then and there was that you can't please everybody, and if you give a guy props, you're a dick sucker, and you're a hater of the other guy, and vice versa. So you can't
BDA,
win.
I watch all your videos, and I think you do an excellent job at making sure you're not trying to like take a side. You're just showing the facts. This is what I feel this fighter does, and you have a good eye, and you point it out, and you know what I mean. I think all you do is highlight their attributes, and then you'll highlight the things that they do wrong. You're not. How can anybody say that you're taking sides from any of your videos? You know what I mean? That's kind of that's insulting because that's not true at all.
Some people don't even watch the whole video. They just like they watch 10 seconds and then they get to the point where I point somebody's flaws out, and then they go to the comment section right away. So my thing is this: I learned that a long time ago. I'm not worried about it. But one thing I do have to say is I call out. Listen, people think that this channel also hates black fighters, and then there's other people that think we hate Mexicans, and then there's people that think we hate the Chinese, and we don't hate anybody. But here's the thing: these Mexicans who are Canelo fans,
we just hate Ryan Garcia.
What? No, but these people that think we hate Canelo because we're Triple G fans. I mean, come on, listen, Canelo, whether you're Mexican or not, we're Mexicans, and we're calling Canelo out based on his attitude and the fact that he got caught and the fact that there seems to be something wrong with his raps. I don't care if he's Mexican. I don't care if he's my brother. I don't care if he's married to my sister, if he's banging my mother. If he got caught with PEDs and he looks like a fucking pit bull in there with that thick ass neck of his, something is going on, and that positive test just proved it. So I'm sorry, Canelo got caught red-handed. He's gonna fight Triple G anyway because he is a regardless of whether he's taking steroids or not, Canelo is a fighter at heart. So he wants to prove people wrong, and he wants to shut Triple G's mouth.
And I said one quick
I just
thing
think he's losing. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I was going to say, now think about what this says, that Oscar was taking the money out of his pocket. Remember how Triple G said, no, I want 45%. Everybody was like, oh, he's crazy. So Canelo took that as like an insult too. And the fact that I think Oscar paid that extra money, said, I'll put it up because he wanted to make the fight happen. And remember, before that, Oscar said, we don't need Triple G. We can make fucking that money anywhere, that type of attitude. And so then it was kind of a slap of reality, too, like to Canelo and his team, like, wow, we really can't make that money. And where are we going to go to make anywhere near that kind of money? So he had a dose of humility put in him, and I think that really bothered him. But again, I've done nothing but praise that kid's abilities from day one. Quick fucking hands.
Yep.
Gallon neck, can take a shot. And I was a big fan, but I'll admit how he's behaved has a lot to do with how I think of him now. But whatever.
The way that guy throws punches, technically, he's one of my favourites in boxing. One of the most technically gifted fighters in boxing. Very, very good fighter, Canelo Alvarez.
Good chin, fucking chin.
It's got everything. Yeah. It lacks a bit of footwork. I think his head movement is superb. The way he rides shots, rolls shots, his counter punching, second to none. Clean punches. But when Canelo lands a shot, you can just fucking hear the sound. You hear the sound of the shot. I don't think he's a concussive puncher where he's going to clean you out one shot.
Well, I would have asked Khan that.
Kirkland, remember that Kirkland shot? That was a vicious, but it's more combination. It's more build up.
You can't come on, man. You can't say fucking. You can't use Khan as an example. Brady's Prescott was called a monster after he knocked Khan out. I don't think he knocked the guy out. I don't think he's knocked the guy out since, has he? Do you know what I mean? So
I agree with that. I agree. I mean, but going back to Canelo, listen, Canelo he's a very good fighter. I think that he's gotten better, and I think that he got the thing that happened with Canelo was he was fucked over in that Mayweather fight. I said it. Listen, that fight, he was fucked over. He was, first of all, he was drained. Floyd was taking shit in that fight. I mean, go look at the interview 3 weeks or 2 weeks before the fight. He admits to taking a vampire facial. He was basically admitting to blood doping, while while Canelo looked dead at the weigh-in. I mean, I can remember Andre Ward saying, "That shit don't look good." I mean, this is Andre Ward, right? This is
remember he said that IV bag he got caught with.
Canelo, he's like, "Yo, Canelo, that does not look good at all. That looks bad. That looks scary," and it did. And I think he got a shitty end, the shitty end of that deal, even though the scorecards, try to make up for it, where one judge had it six rounds apiece. And let's face it, like Canelo didn't win 6 fucking rounds. You know what I'm saying? He didn't win 6 rounds. I think they try to just give him a little something after they took so much from him, right? But then he's going out there and doing the same thing to other people. That's why then he gets caught. Here's the worst thing. He gets caught. It's you, motherfucker. Nobody else is you. You got caught.
Yeah, to be fair,
and then he's like trying to make it look like, oh, it's Triple G. He has a bad resume. Triple G's willing to fight you any day of the week.
Yeah, that Floyd.
Like, can't say I got a bad resume. You got a bad resume, but he's willing to fight you tomorrow. Like, you're making yourself look bad when you do that.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, when Canelo fought Floyd, I mean, he weighed in at scales. He come in looking like Eric Morales, didn't he? I mean, fuck me. He was
we can only go by what Floyd said. Remember, Floyd's the one who said it was an IV for because he was so dehydrated when he got home.
Yeah,
remember, they caught him. Exactly. They caught him with an IV, right? But the only proof that it was just saline solution is fucking the guy who got caught taking, So I think it was his plasma. I think he was blood doping. That just because when you would do your last bag, you would do it the night before. Ideally, you know what I mean? I think he was putting back in the frozen blood to give him his big fat ass red blood cells and to keep nice and fresh. Because again, it's saline solution. Did anybody test the bag? Was the bag ever sent out? No,
of course not.
It's so ridiculous. It's just so insane that he got away with that. It's amazing.
Las Vegas.
Canelo should have took the Billy Joe Saunders fight. Easy fight for him. I know he struggles with footwork, but Billy Joe Saunders is not gonna put a beating on you. He's just gonna outbox you. And I think if Golovkin he puts hurtings on people, doesn't he? I think it's a tough fight for Canelo to take the fight again. I mean, for people to call him a coward, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you say what you like about Canelo Alvarez. He's a sport kid, and he's got his nose put out of joint over certain things. But this guy will fight any man, and he's proved that.
I think one of the reasons for him not going after Saunders, I think Saunders' reputation of being difficult to nail down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Difficult to sign. He's difficult to get the actual fucking fight signed. Is always something like, isn't it the purse bid now with him and Jacobs? Is that good?
No, he's fighting Andrade, isn't he? He's in Boston.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, he went to Andrade, but that went to purse bid too, didn't it?
Eddie Hearn won it,
yeah, because it's going to but that's what I'm saying.
They did a deal before the purse bid, because I think if 2 fighters can sign a deal before the purse bids, then that's how they do it. Eddie Hearn offered him great money apparently, so he took it.
Eddie Hearn offered who great money? Billy
Joe Saunders, millions.
But Andrade is a far cry from fucking from Canelo and Triple G. You know what I mean? Andrade's good.
No, money wise it is, but I'm saying Canelo probably taking this Golovkin fight. The pressure's probably getting to him because he knows it's going to be a lot tougher fight this time.
Agreed.
I think he's getting $35 million for this fight. I heard something like that. I don't know.
Easily.
But he's
of course he will.
I don't know about that.
That's 35.
That's a lot of money.
The gate last year was record breaking. No, there was Forbes printed it. The LA Times. Lance put it out. Triple G got $5 million cold for the fight. Canelo got, I believe, $10 million. Plus they got a percentage of the pay-per-view in the gate, and it came out to Canelo pulled in over $35 million, and Triple G was just around $33 million, I believe. I know it was Canelo got big money.
No, I think Golovkin pulled in a total of like somewhere in the 20 millions, while I think Canelo got anywhere from 30 to 40 million And that
Yeah,
fight,
it was big
they're
money.
saying that what they're saying is that he's getting at least 35 million. That's crazy. 35 million for this fight.
Jeez, Luis.
I'm sorry, no, 30 million. I'm sorry, 30 million.
But
He's getting at least 30 million for this fight.
You take 50% right off the rip for capital gains, so then you take away from. He'll probably, if he signed for 30 million, like if that's what he's expecting, he'll probably walk home at the end of the day about 9.
Nah.
8, 5. No, I'm serious, dude. After taxes and everything.
9?
Well, put it this way: Mickey Ward got 3 million, right, for one of his highest paid fight. I think the third was 3 million. He took home 1.1 because you lose 50% right off the rip goes to capital gains. So if say he's 30, that's instantly 15. Now you got to pay your trainers, you got to pay all your expenses, you got to pay promotional fees, sanctioning fees. That all comes out of your end. They take a pretty big hit. I mean, trust me, they're not going to be sucking dick for beer money, but you know what I mean. But yeah, no, they take a big hit.
Well, you never know. Maybe they're sucking dick for another reason. And by the way, before we continue, we got El Dude on the line. El Dude, are you there?
Hey, what's up, brothers? Right here, just joining in.
Absolutely, yes.
The last thing I heard was about the forces of GGG and Canelo. What's up, everybody? What's up, Matrix? Jimmy. That's the dude. Hey,
What up, Billy Joe? Yeah, Billy.
Mauricio Suleiman.
What's up, guys?
I heard Mauricio Suleiman said that it is Canelo getting in the 30s, GGG's getting around the 20s.
Yeah,
and
that's what I heard too.
But that doesn't that's only the contract. That doesn't include like the promotions and and like the outside. That's just for the fight within itself. So they're gonna make a shitload of more money than what's showing right now.
Yeah. These guys, I can't blame them, man. They listen. They probably fight a third time, man. I'm telling you. Watch.
Well,
they're gonna fight it. They're gonna fight 3 times.
Matrix, you're right because Oscar De La Hoya and ESPN Deportes came out and he said that Canelo is basically they asked him if Canelo will ever be as big as Chavez Sr. and De La Hoya said he could be because he's young. Who knows? But depends on the trilogy of the fight, and 2 more great fights for Canelo will probably
trilogy.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous ground. That's dangerous ground to ever talk. You know what I mean? Like if anybody to be able to talk about Cesar, because that's he's like a god in Mexico. You got to be real careful.
That's a high standard.
Yeah, he's
like first of all, Chavez is just not a big Mexican boxing star. He's a big boxing star, period. Like you say Chavez, you're like, oh, boxing.
Like Tyson.
You hear people say, yeah, Tyson, this person, Muhammad Ali, Chavez. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where Chavez is.
You should have seen Vegas when Chavez fought. What Vegas was like. When I'm telling you, it was like being in Mexico, and it was great, man. Party atmosphere. When he would fight when he was at his pinnacle, it was crazy. I'm telling you, mobbed. He would have to be like, it was like a rock star. He would have to be ran into the building, Jimmy, being protected. People would be grabbing at him.
That was my favorite fight of all time. Chavez Sr.
Man, he was a fucking celebrity.
I couldn't miss a fucking fight, and I missed a few because he'll have so many goddamn fights. I'm like, I didn't know he was fighting that day. What do you mean he's fucking fighting and I didn't know about it? I would be pissed off.
He was a fighter.
We didn't have
he was awesome.
My grandma wouldn't miss none of his fights, bro. And God bless her soul, but she passed away. But she would never miss his fights when they were on. She would talk about boxing, and it was weird because he was like the Michael Jordan. Well, that particular era, Michael Jordan, Tyson, Chavez.
No, he was huge. You can't state. I can't state how big he was. He was huge.
It's interesting.
That's the good thing about Don King, man. Don King, you can talk a lot of shit about Don King, but he sure knew how to promote his boxing.
That's true, and he got Chavez most of the time through Showtime, which at that time it was the second tier channel compared to HBO, and they still got a lot of coverage for Chavez. And I think about Chavez too is that not only was he good puncher and a calm forward guy, but he would do it with technique, skill, break you down little by little. And it's interesting because I was watching him on Telemundo. I don't know if it was a recent thing, maybe 2 years at the most ago, but he revealed that when he fought Greg Haugen, he was too tense because he wanted to to fuck him up so bad, and he admitted that he got tired after I think the second round, and it makes sense because when you watch the fight after 2 rounds, his arms were at his side, he had his hands down, so it's true the guy did try too hard to.
I think when you've had as many fights as Chavez, I think you're allowed one bad day at the office, isn't you? Fucking hell.
But it wasn't a bad day.
You're playing with more chances of losing when you fight more. That's just the way
I think Chavez was about 96-0 before he lost, weren't he? Fucking something like that.
Yeah.
He was 89. 88. Oh, no, 88. He went 88.
I believe.
No, excuse me, 87-0 before he had like a blemish, meaning his first draw was with his first like dent in his career was Pernell Whitaker draw. So it was like 87-0 and then a draw.
I think it was, and then 89-0 when he drawed.
You might be right. Yeah, you might be right.
And it was
89.
I think it was.
His 90th fight. I think. 91st.
Yeah. Floyd beat a what's his name's record? That was the one they hopped on.
Marciano.
Rocky Marciano, and let's put it in its proper content. He's saying if he never fights again, and he goes 50-0, then he broke Rocky Marciano's record. Right? That's the record.
It was broken over the weekend.
The record is who broke it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
I'm sorry, brother. I thought you were done. No, I was just gonna say that.
No, go ahead. Who broke it
over the weekend? It was a guy from Thailand, I believe.
Yeah, some guy from Thailand. Everybody's making fun of that shit.
Yeah, but that guy's recently been fighting people like 6 and 26.
Yeah.
Hey, he's still broken.
Stu,
don't knock it.
Yeah, no, but I remember that Hogan fight, man. You guys were brought up earlier. That one still holds the record for most live spectators, 130,000.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Azteca? That was in Azteca Stadium, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He drew in a big crowd against what's the other Mexican he fought? God damn it, he broke De La Hoya's face back in the days. At 140.
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Yeah. He drew a big crowd. That was in Mexico City, I believe, that fight. And he drew a big crowd there.
I think fighters back then got paid better money than they do now.
Well, if you had inflation, probably yeah.
Well,
yeah, inflation, man.
When you look at Duran made fucking millions, man.
Well, think about it. Duran made $8 million, Stu. To your point, Duran made $8 million in a rematch versus Sugar Ray Leonard. I think back in 1980.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Shit.
I mean, when he lost
40 years ago,
when Duran lost to Kirtland Lang, Steve Bunce was saying Kirtland Lang went on to be a drug addict living on a bench, and Roberto Duran went on to.
Yeah, that's sad.
Roberto Duran went on to make another $30 million, and this is like at the end of his career, so sort of thing. Yeah. So can you imagine the money he's made? I mean, ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, today's fighters are not touching that money. When you look at Wilder, heavyweight champion of the world, getting $2 million. I mean, fucking Leonard was getting that fighting chumps. More.
Well, that's what I was going to. Yeah, Mike Tyson in his career grossed $335 million.
Hey, BDA, we have a. Hold on, BDA, you there?
Yep.
We have a new guy there, official boxing scorecard, or official scorecard boxing.
Official scorecard boxing, are you there, man? Official scorecard boxing, are you there?
Make it official.
Hi there. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Great. So I've been following your channel for quite some time, and I'm enjoying the conversations. And by the way, sorry for my accent. That's all. I'll leave you talking. Keep talking, guys.
Where are you from? Are you from France?
We all have an accent.
We all have an accent.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm living in France, in Paris, but I'm from Serbia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed a bit of a. I thought it was a French accent, but now that you said Serbia, were you there?
Are you the guy from Facebook with the tattoo, the Chavez tattoo?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I saw it, man. Yeah.
The Fight Scout says Jean-Claude Van Damme in the house. Just don't start doing the split in the hangout and freak everybody out with that shit. This ain't the Ryan Garcia channel. All right, now, well, thanks for coming on. By the way, good to have you.
He has a tattoo of Julio Cesar Chavez, man.
Does he really?
Yeah, I put the picture on Dropbox. You can put it on the screen if you want.
Jeez Louise.
So let me ask this guy: Did you grow up in Serbia or in France?
Well, yeah, at the age of 14, I came to France.
And you knew about Chavez back even then, right?
No. In fact, what I wrote about Chavez in Serbia, it's because I was in contact with guys who are boxing in Serbia. So they told me like, yeah, that's the picture. So they told me like everybody was crazy. Every boxing head there is crazy about Chavez, and they love that Mexican style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But I discovered boxing here in France, so that's all.
Yeah, France.
How's the French boxing scene at the moment? Because not a lot. I know we got the Olympic gold medalist who won the heavyweights in, I think it was Rio. I mean, I think he got suspended for drugs recently, so I don't know where he's going. But is there any other French fighters coming through? Because there's a bit of a poor nation when it comes to boxing, the French. So, I mean, not really many names we can roll off the tongue.
Yeah, well, first of all, to be honest with you guys, I'm not really following them. Although I've been boxing when I used to go to gym regularly, I used to box with some really good pros. But you see, even the middleweight guy, Hassan, and he's past his prime, and even in his prime, he wasn't like really the world class middleweight.
Right. Didn't David Lemieux drop that guy about 6 times?
Yeah, it was a bad fight.
No, it was Quillen before Lemieux.
Where's Lemieux originally from with that last name? Isn't that
he's
French?
He's French Canadian. Yeah.
French Canadian.
Yeah, he's French Canadian. Yeah.
But it's interesting because they're so speaking of French.
He has no. Does he have a Armenian background too? I believe.
Yeah.
He's a hybrid. He's a whole bunch of things. He's a cocktail. But here's the thing. Even Mendy, or what's his name? The guy who beat Luke Campbell. They're gonna have a rematch, and he's from France. The guy Mendy. So
yeah, Mendy. That was a good fight. That was. I remember watching that fight. I think Luke Campbell took it a bit too early. I think the strength of Mendy. This is the problem when you can't keep a fighter off you, you're in trouble. It doesn't matter how skilled you are, unless you've got Floyd Mayweather footwork, you're in trouble. Because this guy Mendy was just walking through Luke Campbell, and Luke Campbell just couldn't get away. And once he started landing his shots, I think he was just a bit too slim, a bit too young at the time for that fight, a bit too green. I think he's a better fighter now. I mean, he's been in there with Linares and went the distance. I believe Linares is a lot better fighter than Mendy. So I'm tipping Luke Campbell to win this rematch. But I do remember the first fight, and Mendy he put a bit of a beating on Campbell that night, to be honest.
Yeah, that he needs to set down more of his punches, Campbell. But like you said, after going 12 good rounds against Linares, otherwise, let's hope it's not a question of styles, because maybe Mendy has.
But you know, Linares is a bomb.
I think.
Oh my god.
I think Mendy's very like Carson Jones. He's one of them fighters. I don't know if you're ready for him on the night. He can upset you. And you know, put a hurting on you, sort of thing. I know he's not a great boxer. I think he can be outboxed, but I just don't. Like I said, you've got to be able to hurt this guy. You've got to be able to keep him off. Like Cal Brook. Although Cal Brook beat the guy, it was a hard night's work for him. And Cal Brook can hit, and he had to constantly hit Carson Jones just to keep him off. I think Mendy's that sort of fighter where he just keeps coming forward, and he's a strong kid. I think Luke Campbell's going to have his work cut out again, but I'm going to pick him to win that one.
All right, well, there we have it. A good early prediction for that fight. Now, here's the thing. Going back to Chavez, just really quickly, didn't he lose one of his first 10 fights, but then the commission, or I don't know if it was a WBC or one of the commissions, reversed the decision? Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, that's like a like a boxing myth within the Mexican.
I'll tell you,
Wasn't it that wasn't it that the scorecard was read wrong? Wasn't that was it was just that? It wasn't nothing. In other words, they said the wrong name. They just read the scorecard wrong. That's what I heard.
Yeah, there's like different stories to it.
Yeah, I heard that.
A bunch of different stories.
His 10th. Okay, this is what I heard. His 10th fight, Mexico. They gave it went the distance. It was like a 6 or 4 round. I don't know, 4-round fight, some shit like that. And they just read the wrong name. That was it.
Yeah, I even heard stories that it was a different person with the same name.
I mean, they got one job. These guys, this is how incompetent some people are in boxing, right? That we've got in this sport. Their one job is to fucking read the right name out, and they can't do that.
But you know what?
Well,
I don't see that. I don't see any foul to that because Chavez at the time, if I remember correctly, it was like the beginning of his career. Like, who the heck knew this guy? You know what I mean? He was like this.
I mean, I think didn't Manuel Marquez lose his first fight?
Marquez?
Yeah, he did.
That's what I'm saying.
He did, right? I mean,
it's a common thing with the Mexicans because they've got no amateur pedigree back then. They used to stick them in the ring at pro at 15 years old against grown-ass men. So, you know, you're going to get Mexicans with early losses on their record. It's only when they grow into that men's strength and they bring that Mexican stars where they become world-class fighters. But a lot of these guys are young kids getting in the ring with grown-ass men and they're getting caught early. And a lot of times, only 4 to 6 rounds, you can easily get outworked if you're not ready for a fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I have something to say about the Chavez loss, if I can. So just very recently, like a couple of days ago, I was looking at his old fights from the 80s, and I think I was watching his first title fight that he fought in France, and the commentators were saying something like Chavez, whose record is perfect. But we heard from the Mexican commissioner, I don't know who, that in one of his first fights he lost by disqualification in the first round, but then that loss was overturned. So that's all I heard about it.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that. I don't know if it's an urban legend, like El Dude said, or if it actually happened. But again, shenanigans back in those days. Records, you know, there was no box rec. There was no, people didn't have cell phones and recording everything that went on that the way they do now. I mean, you listen. Fucking Kramer got in trouble for saying the N-word. What type of world is this where you can't scream the N-word at a bunch of people in a bar anymore? I tell you. But you know what? The whole thing about Chavez is, I mean, I'm looking at his final record. Actually, sorry, no, it's not his final record, but it's the record he had prior to his last fight. I think it was 108 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws. Now, here's the thing: on 87 knockouts. Some people say, well, Chavez bought
crazy.
A lot of people say, well, he fought a bunch of bums. It's true. He took a lot of stay busy fights.
Bums? Okay, I mean, but he knocked out 87 dudes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's people out there that can't.
Like, how many people have you knocked out? Like
the thing is, though, today's fighters, we would accept them fighting a few bums if they were fighting 4 or 5 times a year, but they're not.
Exactly.
They're not. They're fighting.
You know what?
Once.
Back then was very common for fighters to take a tune-up fight before a great fight. So
yeah,
they would take
Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson had 200 professional fights. He had 110 knockouts.
Yeah, but fucking didn't Archie? I believe Archie Moore had 170 knockouts. I believe.
Yeah. These, I mean, they did they fight some bums?
Yeah, like Willie Pep had like over 200 fights and shit. Willie Pep had like over 200 something fights.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Willie Pep had over 200 fights.
So when you've got records like that, you can accept a few bumps. It's just life. But when you're like, say 30-0 and you're fighting once a year, there's just no excuse for that once a year fight to be a bum.
Listen, I don't care what kind of fighting you're doing, what kind of combat fight you're doing, whether you're doing it organized or unorganized, having street fights. You fight 200 legit fighters. In any of those things, you're not making it to 200 fights. It's not gonna happen.
No,
I don't care how good you are. You're not gonna make it.
Yeah, it's just like Jimmy's old mate, Mickey Ward, tough guy, isn't he? But would he want to fight Gatti 200 times? Do you know what I mean?
They would be dead by the 5th fight. Let alone. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you've got to have.
Well, that's why he retired after 3rd. He knew that was it for Mickey, and he's still paying for it, though. Believe me, man. It's he's when he stands up, he's a little trippy sometimes because of his equilibrium.
Jeez.
He's had a few surgery.
I mean, human beings. Go on,
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I mean, just because of the hunger of these fighters, they had to go fight. But Willie Pep, if I might be mistaken, but I think he was involved in a airplane accident, and within a few weeks, he was in the ring fighting shit.
Oh yeah,
I know he punched me in my arm when he was 87 years old, or closer in his 80s, and it fucking hurt. He fucking punched me in my arm at my grandfather's wake. You know, we talking to him and shit, and Mickey, like, you know, he's like, come here, you little buff, and he threw a fucking shot at my arm. I'm like, you prick. Yeah, I know, he cracked me. I was like, wow, he still got snap on his punches. This goes to show you, it's second nature. And he wasn't even a puncher.
He was the guy that was using angles. He was like using angles like Lomachenko back then. I mean, a little different, you know, but he was like one of those guys that, you know, that fucking used angles, different angles to attack.
He had to, because he couldn't. His theory was he couldn't punch.
I think boxers back then were men's men back then. When you see how sport they are, they're like little girls these days, whining and whinging about something. Do you know what I mean?
Well, fighting two times a year.
Entitled, didn't they? Entitled to everything. Football, boxers are sport, just like most sportsmen these days. I just think back then, like I said, they were just men's men and a lot hungrier.
I'm sorry, Stu, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I was going to say, you can now think about it, right? Like, the city I live in, back in the 1920s, at 100,000 population, there was 10 boxing gyms in the city of 10. So that's like a gym for every 10,000. Boxing was the biggest sport. There was no NFL back then. Baseball was American pastime, but boxing was the biggest gambled, biggest watched in every year. It was bigger than the World Series, if whatever big fight on the radio, you know. And so if that was there was every kid either played baseball or boxing. Thousand people trying to do something. So obviously the best out of 200 all around better fighters than the best of sheer numbers. And back then, so many people do.
Jimmy, you're breaking up there, man. You're breaking up. Sorry about that.
Exactly. Sorry.
Oh boy, yeah, you're breaking up there. You broke up, man.
But talking about fighters that I admire growing up, like legendary fighters, Kid Azteca was another one, man. He had like over 200 fights. I don't know how many knockouts, like over 100 knockouts. Kid Azteca, Luis Villanueva.
Yeah, but that was from the 30s.
Can you get closer to your mic, because you kind of sound like it's not loud enough.
Yeah, Kid Azteca, for those of you that don't know, was a guy from the 30s or 20s, I believe. I mean, we're talking. Well, hold on a second. Let me check my archives here. Kid Azteca.
Archives meaning website.
Was that?
Yeah,
your archives.
Yeah, my uncle and my father would like talk about that guy. And
yeah, Kid Azteca was 100. He had 196 wins, 39 losses, 79 knockouts. What's that for? How's that for a record? 196 wins.
Nah,
what about that? What about that fighter from I forget his last name. It might have been Loche. I see, like
Nicolino.
Nicolino from Argentina.
Nicolino Loche.
Yeah,
from Argentina.
Yeah, Loche.
Yeah, he was fucking. That was. You want to talk about great defense? That was great defense right there. I mean, right in the pocket, you couldn't touch him. He was almost like Pernell Whitaker, like like that kind.
You know who had a good defense but was too much of a clown that wasn't that much respected? A Mexican boxer by Romero Baez.
Oh yeah.
It's a clown.
But he was, like El Dude said, this guy had very good reflexes, good hand speed. He used to work in a circus, I think, before he became a fighter.
He actually fought in a circus, man. They have boxing fights in a circus, man.
Yeah.
The fuck?
I mean, just box. Like I said, the names back there just seem to be bigger stars. I mean, I'm from the UK, and I remember paying pay-per-view to watch Eric Morales v Barrera. Me and my mate stayed. But that's pay-per-view in the UK, bro. That's how big of a fight that was.
Jeez.
Maybe aren't we being a little bit harsh with today's fighters? Maybe in a few years we're gonna be saying the same thing about that, like the future fighters, and saying, "Oh, back in like."
There's no fighters that we can relate to. I mean, name one fighter that you can think, well, I'm really behind this guy. None. I can't think of one guy I'm really behind that I want to win.
Well, I think you're exaggerating a little bit.
New fighters today?
Yeah, these new fighters. Before, man, when Nigel Benn used to get beat, man, used to fucking break me out. I was wounded the next day, and fighters like that. When Lennox Lewis got knocked out by Rapman, wounded. You know, just. I used to really appreciate these fighters. Today, I don't as much. I don't care.
Wait a minute. Are you saying when Ryan Garcia loses, you're not gonna be broken up about it?
No, I'm gonna make a fucking cake and drink a brandy. That's what I'm gonna do.
A pink cake.
Did you guys see his fight yesterday by any chance?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Why, you really think he's gonna lose?
Well, hold on.
I had it a draw.
You had it a draw. Whoa.
Yeah, I had it 5 rounds apiece.
Interesting.
No way, Ryan won that fight.
You didn't think he won? I didn't see the fight, so we can't.
Well, one judge had it a draw, no?
Yeah, I gave the last 4 rounds to Morales. One of the, I believe the second round to Morales, and the other 5 to. It was 5 apiece. I thought it was a fair square draw.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia. I mean, just the most relevant fighter in boxing for me. I just don't care for the kid too much. Not because he's gay. It's just because he's.
He's a Milli of boxing.
Well, he's just an annoying little fucker. If I want to see some little puff that prancing around like a fairy, then I won't be watching boxing, would I? Do you know what I mean?
Come on.
I just
2 million.
Yeah, but you could have a shit in a sink and that'll get you 2 million views these days. Doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this kid he's getting these views, but he's got no talent.
He does have some talent.
And gay people following him. But listen, you're Golden Boy, but you can understand Golden Boy for promoting this guy, right? He brings him along.
The law is all about the money.
What music did he come out to? What music did he come out to? Fucking Freddie Mercury. I want to break free or something.
What's the name of that song?
There is no youngster his age bringing as many to the sport of boxing. And paying customers as well. One of the things that he does very well.
I'll tell you what. We've got youngsters in the UK a lot better than Ryan Garcia. A lot better, and they're not even known.
Yeah, skill wise.
Well, listen, Tank is. I think he's an exciting. He's one. You just got to step it up. That's it.
Maybe Tank should do a bit more prancing around like a fairy. Mind you, the way
I don't know about
that.
Mind you,
the way he's been acting with Broner.
He's Broner, yeah.
He's actually
I forgot about the Broner.
It's true.
And then remember the song.
Garcia, but I mean,
and then remember
kissing Tank Davis. Come on.
And then don't forget the song they did that Broner and Tank Davis did together, that rap song.
I think about this dude that I fucked last night, and how his dick was big and his ass was tight, sucking on my cock like a candy cane, rubbing on my balls and fucking out my brain.
I mean, that's what they're singing about. We're talking about the quality of the past being better nowadays. This is what they're singing.
That's a scary song to have, man, in the background.
Well, I don't, tell that to Adrian Broner and Tank Davis. But look,
can I just say something? Can I just say something about Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy and how they're promoting him? They have to stop saying that this guy's a great fighter, because that's gonna be counterproductive. Because then people are gonna be saying, well, if he's that great, then put him up against this fighter or this type of competition, and that's not what Golden Boy should be doing, man.
Good point.
You don't want to, you know what I mean?
I think Golden Boy's going on the hate angle. I think Oscar sees what kind of reaction he's getting from boxing people, and they see it's usually there people will buy or watch him fight just to see him lose at this point.
I mean, talking of Freddie Mercury, if he takes that Tank Davis fight, he'll be meeting Freddie Mercury, mate.
Yeah, he gets knocked out, man.
Knocked
But look,
out cold.
Yeah, but De La Hoya said he's not interested. He said he's willing to allow him to spar. But
no shit.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, that's not rocket science, is it? Fuck's sake.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But look, Ryan Garcia.
Keep that kid well away from Tank Davis. I mean,
and he's not going to get better because I've already been told by people who know the camp, know Oscar, and he is an arrogant, headstrong kid who can't be forced to go to the gym, doesn't learn anything if you try to teach him. Just watch when they're talking to him in the corner. He's over there checking, looking around the ring girl sometimes. Just what happened, he became, like you said, famous on Instagram before he should, you know what I'm saying? So he already had this mentality before. His abilities don't match his, fame in his community, but it's still very minor fame compared to.
Do you know what my problem with Ryan Garcia is? My problem with Ryan Garcia, he's only the name he is because yet again the LGBT trying to push someone.
Come on.
We can't go nowhere without having one of these guys around us, can we? We can't have a sport. We can't do anything. I mean, I'm hearing in the UK there's a transgender referee starting next week or something. I just can't cope with this anymore. Everywhere I turn, fuck's sake, man. Do you know what I mean? Everywhere I go, I got some fucking Steve looking like Eve. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, BDA.
What about
BDA? Go ahead and say, you don't condone this. This is not,
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
BDA,
recognize, thank you. We just want to let people know that this is Stu talking, and we don't condone the views of everybody on this panel. We just let them talk, say their opinion. Please don't, come in and then start telling us that
we love Justin Trudeau.
That's right, and we love
By the way,
Justin
I was gonna
Trudeau.
say Ryan Garcia, man. Maybe he needs to lose to get back on track, to get his head clear his head.
Yeah, but what
this kid
what is it going to do? Losing this.
He needs to get knocked out, man.
Losing is not going to turn him into a man overnight. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with you, Stu. When he does get knocked out, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, you're going to beat the little male genes he has got left out of him. I mean, let's be real. I mean,
he's the next Panchito Bojado. You guys remember Panchito Bojado?
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah, Panchito.
He was the next
Vargas. Yeah, it was Vargas, man.
Did you guys see that tweet where it showed him knocked out? It was obviously a meme, but it was like he's knocked out, but in a position with his ass arched up in the air. It was horrible.
Everybody dropped off except myself and Stu. Stu, I gotta tell you, man, you're really disappointing me here with your close-mindedness and your bigotry. I mean, this is a sport, international sport for everybody, and that includes people.
No, there isn't. No, we've got a women's football. We've got men's football. We don't have transgender football. We don't have transgender boxing. Stay out of our business. Go and live your life.
Stu, wait for the transgender Olympics to come up, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, mate. I'll cut my sky off if they put that on that. I'll cut my sky off.
It's just amazing how a community is so small.
I don't hate these people. They're welcome. I don't wish any harm on them. They can do what they want. But just stay out of my business. I've come to boxing to speak to real men and see real men fight. I don't want some fairy with a skirt and lipstick on fucking getting in my business. I've got, if I want to see lipstick and a skirt, I'll go to Michelle Joy Phelps' channel. I don't want to go and see some fucking channel.
No. You're going too far, man. My Michelle.
No, I enjoy her content. I enjoy looking at her.
All I heard was you cut off at the end. You cut off. All I heard was you say, "I enjoy her cunt." That's what I heard. I don't know if you said content or cunt.
Whoa!
Gee,
nice.
I reckon Billy Joe Saunders might have a few stories on that one.
He's seen my tits.
I think Eddie Hearn smashed that thing silly.
Yeah.
Hearn snaked his way in there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, just the way she interviewed him, the way they were touching each other. I'm like, wow. I think he was fucking. Somebody smell that dude's upper lip.
Oh come on!
I tell you what, though, if Hearn has done that, then fair play to Hearn. Fair play to him.
Isn't he married, by the way? I can't condone that. Somebody married. I think
that's against... but come on.
Yeah, that's got to do any fucking head. You know what I mean? Worry about that afterwards.
By the way,
He
guys,
just gave his wife $1 million to go shopping. Took care of that problem.
let's look at let's take a look at Ryan Garcia's Twitter page and let's see what we're dealing with here. Because I disagree. He's bringing in a lot of LGBT whatever, but he's also bringing in the ladies. All right, so let's take a look at his Twitter. There you see him. He took a girl named Marie. Took a photo with him and she added a bunch of hearts. But now the thing that concerns me is look at this girl. Look at her eyes. Don't they seem like they're black eyes? Like she's got no white in her eyes. Is she an alien or something? That's what concerns me. But nevertheless,
maybe a tattoo. They're doing that now. They're tattooing the white part of their eyes.
No, but that's in prison. This girl doesn't look like she was in prison. Anyway.
Would you trust your pad? Would you trust your cellmate to fucking tattoo your eye? I wouldn't.
All right, now Ryan Garcia checking himself out in the mirror. I don't know if it was before or after the fight. And let's take a look at some of the comments. There's this woman and she's got a lipstick as a sign there, so you know what she wants from Ryan Garcia. Here you have another lady. She says, at least he didn't do damage to your face like you did. Okay, this guy Charlie, who looks a little bit like Cameron Gillen, by the way, except a redhead version.
Told you he's following him, man.
Yeah, I know. So you see here, he's got a bunch of...
I see him like the next to La Hoya, a bunch of chicks following like the pop culture type of young kid.
Hey, dude, I'm sensing a bit of a fan here. I'm sensing... Honestly.
Nah, bro, I don't see gay when I fucking watch.
No, I don't see gay. I just see a useless fighter that's famous because he's gay. Let's be real. If this guy wasn't gay, not one of us would be talking about him.
But wait a minute,
is he gay? Did he actually come out?
That's what I was gonna say. No, this
fuck me.
There's no.
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking. I didn't know. Because you said so.
Yeah, I mean George Michael, he weren't gay.
Well, he definitely. He admits he plays it up, so it's not like he's not giving out that signal, because he even said to Steve Kim in an interview he thinks it's funny and he likes to play it up because he thinks it's funny, it pisses people off, which is an odd stance for a boxer to take, as far as I'm concerned.
He's not gay like Richard Simmons, you know?
Yeah, exactly. He's not... Come on.
So he's pitching, not catching?
No, wait a minute. Hold on a second here. What? I'll prove to you that he's all man. All right, let's go back to his Twitter page. There's he showed a picture of his Wayne, and this woman says, "I'll have 10 million of his kids." And then look at the woman. Look at those big old jugs. She's from Jalisco, so you know that's quality right there. And these are her pictures. She wants that Ryan Garcia dick. All right, you telling me a gay guy? Actually, you know what?
Well, it might be a tranny.
No. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, a lot of women.
Like I said, any man can get.
He's the next to La Hoya.
He's the next to La Hoya.
The lawyer was followed by so many. Yeah, he's the next to La Hoya, man. I mean,
but we know talent.
Guys are really following.
Yeah, he said De La Hoya could fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but this kid is still young, though, man. This guy's really, 20 years old. He's not fully developed. I don't personally give a shit what he does. Outside the ring, I don't follow fighters that way. But in the ring boxing, I think De La Hoya is doing a remarkable economic job by making a shitload of money with this kid, whether he's going to be famous or not. De La Hoya's banking on this kid, man. That's one thing. De La Hoya is really, really banking on this kid.
Yeah, it's not the only thing he's doing with that kid.
Hey, now wait a minute. What does that mean? All right, you know what? We actually have another conversation. Somebody sent us a secret conversation, well, actually a private conversation that Garcia and De La Hoya were having on the telephone. They were talking about paychecks and future events and what type of adversary he might fight. And all of a sudden, it started to turn a little bit R-rated. So I just want to tell people out there, if you have kids, don't let them hear this. But this is what De La Hoya... This is how he ended the conversation with Ryan Garcia.
Fuck me up the ass with your hot teenage cock.
Now let me tell you something. I mean, I think that's too far. I don't know why De La Hoya would say that to his own fighter, but that's the way they do it.
Oh shit! I'm not muted.
I believe it.
All right, let's see what people are saying in the chat room. Sasquatch says Michelle will save boxing. What happened?
You twisted fuck.
What happened?
Know, I'm the type of fan that if I see boxing like boxers, there's some that I would go ask for their autographs. Some I wouldn't. I think if they're older than me, I might go ask for the autograph. If they're younger, like Ryan Garcia, I'd be like, just the next thing.
Come on, you had your poster right there, man, ready to be signed.
Yeah, fucking hell, man. You can stick it
like that, man. I respect the proven.
Dude, you can stick it. You can stick it next to your one. You can stick it next to your One Direction poster.
But let's be honest, now this guy's good for boxing. He's good for boxing, man. He's good for boxing, man. They did amazing views for it on Facebook. It's stunk in Facebook, you know what I mean? And they had a good undercard. I watched the undercard. It was pretty good, man. Pretty, Mexican style fighters, man. So I enjoyed the.
Now listen, let the kid do. If the kid's making his money, fair play to him. My problem's not with the kid. It's not what you're not getting it wrong. All right, I pops at him about being gay, but it's just tongue in cheek. I don't know if he is. But I mean, let's be real. He looks it to me. So it's not about that. It's the fact is this guy is famous because the LGBT have jumped onto him. Just like you, dude, if they jumped onto you now and they can make you famous. No, but I'm just saying.
See, that's why I don't know how good he is for boxing, because is his numbers going to really translate? Because if you look at the people who follow him on Instagram, I went to his account and I just scrolled down, you hit following, right? And it's 99% teenage girls. So it's like, so after he gets sparked out the first time he fights anybody who can actually crack and has some skill, and he leaves that chin up in the air and they peel him off the canvas, how many of those teenage girls are going to start staying following boxing is my point. I'm just curious.
Well, guys,
these guys are taking over the next platform, which is the social media, KSI versus that other guy. What's his name? I don't remember his name. But the circus type of boxing on the internet. He's a young kid, bringing in the young fans.
But those two had 34 million followers combined. I mean, think about that, 34 million followers. You know how? So I mean, if two guys fought with 10,000 followers, they'd make $680. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's relative. They're one of the most followed people on, Facebook, right? If I'm not mistaken, or YouTube.
No, yeah, you're right. What I'm saying is that De La Hoya is jumping on that new platform, that new market. I don't see Al Heyman, Eddie Hearns.
Yep. Oh no! Listen, Oscar's going to make his money off that kid, no doubt. Oscar's going to wring every last dollar he can out of that kid.
Sorry, I just have something to add. You see, I remember reading some boxing forum conversations, and on some of those boxing forums, there was a topic made by some inside guy that some manager, advisor, I don't know what, and it's like at least 60 pages long. He's talking about Earl Spence a long time ago by he became well known in boxing, and so perhaps the guy was saying that to be backed by the to be done. So of course you can be a great talented boxer, that's one thing. Then he said, of course, you can have a strong punch and knocking people out like Pravadnikov, like I don't know, all those guys who doesn't have skills but had heart and a hard punch and gave us exciting fights. And then you have also the pretty boys, and he was talking about David Lemieux and others, how the good looks is also something that big promotional companies are looking after.
Well, listen.
Good point, man. Perfect.
That's a good point, yes. But listen. I'm just going to say something, man. If you are born with good looks and you happen to be a fighter, boxer, whatever, MMA guy, I mean, it's not your fault you're good looking, just like it's not like Daniel Zaragoza's fault that he was an ugly fuck. As long as you can fight, and hey, if you're good looking,
it's not. Or Michelle Joy Phelps doing her whole boxing thing.
It's not Floyd Mayweather Sr.'s fault that he came out one ugly motherfucker. I mean,
well, we're gonna go back to that. We're gonna go back to that. But listen, let's read a couple of comments.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was insensitive. You got a little out of line yourself there.
Well, I gotta say too, you didn't need.
I'm sorry. Salud.
You didn't need to apologize for your English, by the way, brother. You got a better master of it than I do.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, you're talking to official Scott.
I'm like, yeah, he's got the kid from France. He's like, oh, apologize for my accent or like my English. I'm like, Jesus, he's got a better master of it than I do.
Well,
I butcher it worse than him.
There's people who speak English and I don't understand what they're saying. They speak with no accent. They speak with the American accent, and I still don't understand them.
A lot of these people sound like Roger Mayweather.
Oh. All right, listen.
He always sounds like he just took a hit of a pipe. He always sounds like he just fucking blew out a hit. He's
listen, man.
Hey, what do you think about
Steven Schneider? Hold on, just.
You're talking English.
I know, man. By the way, Steven Schneider, thank you for your donation. He says Mayweather Sr. looks like Miles Davis.
Yeah, he's lacking the Jerry curl or whatever the fuck.
Not as ugly as Jeff. I mean,
yo, poor guy.
That's the best I can say about him.
Oh, that guy.
Here's my Miles Davis impression.
I mean, if there's an opposite for albino, that.
Oh, yeah.
Look, Jeff
not go there. I don't want to get the channel shut down, right?
Jeff Mayweather, the guy that's got his own channel that walks around the Mayweather gym asking prediction who wins, Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Things like, you know what I mean? Like they're going to say anything.
Right, like somebody's going to actually say, I think Pacquiao's going to beat him.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Oh man,
it's you get kicked out of the gym, right? It's
yeah,
it's like hanging out in Tony Soprano's, fucking his little strip club and saying, "Hey, what do you think about Tony Soprano? Is he an asshole? He's a stand-up guy."
Yeah, you end up rolled in the carpet.
Yeah, exactly.
Bada bing.
The bada bing.
Errol Spence predictions against Brooke and that lot. Like anyone's going to say Brooke.
I went to that place in New Jersey where they film it's right off the highway. Let me tell you, they don't have the same girls dancing there.
Oh, that's a shame.
I saw C-section scars and bullet wounds.
Well, that's what happens when you go outside of New York. If
Bada Bing was the real strip club.
Yeah, ladies. It was glass slippers. It was something glass slippers or something. There was a wine glass or a stripper sitting in it. It was right on the highway.
I've been there.
But yeah, we've spent it. Yeah, it was rough, man.
Doesn't Floyd have a strip club? A gentleman's club?
Yeah, but I think they already got him barred from there for fucking groping.
I think he has one in his house. He has one in one of his.
Yeah, he opened up Girls Factory.
Hey, Jimmy.
I'm sure they have girls locked up back in the rest.
Yes.
Jimmy, when
Floyd
you went to the
such a prick, fucking sitting there with his strippers all over him, and fucking guy.
Well, that's the thing.
That guy got good taste for women, man. That's one thing.
No, he don't. I tell you what.
Holy Christ, no.
Hey, if I had $800 million, mate, I'd have a lot better chicks on my arms than that.
But they're plastic
I don't know
dolls.
about your taste, but
They're like, I know what you're saying, El Dude. I know what you're saying, El Dude. They're good-looking girls in the sense that they're done up pretty well, like they got a lot of. Some of the girls, look, I'll admit that there's, there are some girls that he's had that I would have picked them if that's my mindset, with like I just want to have some fun.
Donald Trump gets better birds than Floyd.
Oh, but Donald Trump, man, he
does.
He was banging like Miss America and shit like that.
Even his wife now is nice. I think she's all right now.
I've never been into those plastic surgery kind of chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always something weird about that. Where they get their face done, the lips done, the boobs and all that,
Yeah, that's the worst. Yeah. The worst is when you have a chick that looks good and then all of a sudden somebody gets inside her head and it's just plastic surgery, and they end up looking like a bunch of plastic.
They look like shit, right? Like
yeah,
I know. Listen, I've known quite a few girls, but I know this one particular girl. She was like she was a stripper. Okay, she was fine, and she's kind of pretty. She's pretty famous on the internet. I won't say her name, but anyway.
Oh, come on.
She did all this surgery. She looks like a fucking transsexual.
Yeah, that's what happens. They start
It's
looking like
come
trannies.
on, man. You look like a tranny. Like, who likes you now?
You say you say that like it's a bad thing.
Well,
Matrix, I'm sure. I think you've seen this movie. Have you guys seen the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've seen it.
There was this one chick. Remember that one chick that he picks up, then takes her home, and then she takes off her wig.
She takes off a leg.
Breast or fake ass. I could do it. They takes off a fake leg. Shit.
Yeah.
Fake legs. The fuck.
Hey, BDA, were you saying Jimmy earlier?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you when.
Wrong?
No, I was just gonna ask you when you went to the Bada Bing. Did you see a guy beating up a stripper in the back, beating her to death?
Ralphie? I saw Ralphie. He was smashing her. Oh, when he says to her, he goes, "Yeah, man, we'll name her a fucking whatever, so she grows up to be a little cocksucker just like you." That was one of the most vicious scenes. And then he beats the little fuck girl to death.
The best part is when he goes back into the club and they go, "What happened?" And he goes, I got in Tracy, she fell." Like right away he fucking lies like, "Oh yeah, she slipped."
Like she beat her. She fell down and broke her fucking whole face.
Yes.
Broke her neck.
But the way he says it, just so nonchalantly, like, "Oh, you know, she we got into a fight, she slipped." I don't know, like.
Well, remember when Sal was slapping her out in front of the house when she didn't go to work for the weekend? Sal showed up, and I don't know if his name's Sal, the second in command.
Silvio.
Yeah,
Silvio, he shows up, he starts slapping her around out front because she runs her mouth, and Ralph's in the kitchen window laughing.
Oh man!
Oh my god!
And then when he goes, Tony Soprano confronts him. "Oh, she slipped." And he goes, "Why? It's my fault. She's a fucking klutz." It's like no fucking.
And that was what set off the family war there, because he put his hands. You can't put your hands on a made man, even if you're the boss. That's
well,
once you're made, you get your butt.
Man.
Yeah, you cannot. That's like you get killed for that shit. That's like a rule.
He gave Tony a good fight. He gave Tony a pretty decent fight for his size.
Either boss can get killed for that if it's voted on by other bosses, because that's part of the whole thing. You know, once you make it to that, you know, nobody can put their hands on you. Not even other made men.
But now, was he really? Was he really a boss?
Jermaine Taylor, you guys remember him?
Oh yeah,
Tony
we remember
the boss?
Jermaine Taylor, the boxer.
No, hold on. Just one last thing. Just no. The only thing I was saying is that maybe Soprano, like, they didn't consider him a boss because he was from New Jersey. Right, like the New York guys, they always made fun of
the
him.
New York guys never always treated the New York.
Yeah, but Ralphie was part of that. Was part of the New Jersey gang,
right?
Wasn't he? He was part of the New Jersey gang.
Yes, but he was in tight with some New York guys. Johnny,
with Johnny and
Johnny Sack.
Listen, if you read the story of the real New Jersey mob, it's unbelievable how much they copied those guys, right down to a gay guy in it, because the boss of the New Jersey mob was killed by the other members because he was having orgies and fucking sticking his dick and everything when they found out it was guys, which is weird because in the mob, you can fuck guys in prison. You get a pass for that.
Yeah,
but on the street, you can get shot in the back of the head for that by your best friend. It's crazy.
Tony Soprano.
The Mexican must forbid that, right?
Oh, I don't know, man. I've heard some stories about people putting dice in their cocks and shit like that.
Well, Tony Soprano, dice in this guy. Tony Soprano, actually, to Jimmy's point, Tony, he actually, when he was confessing all his his problems to that psychiatrist, he actually said that, yeah, you know, if you're in prison, that's one thing. You're doing 10 years, 5 to 10 years. And he goes, "I know what you're thinking." He goes, "I didn't spend enough time in prison."
It's like he says, my incarceration was, yeah, he says, my incarceration was very brief.
But there's rules even in that. Like, you can't be catching. You can't blow the dude. He can only, like, you can't fuck a guy in the ass, I don't think, either. I think that, but I know it's like they can blow you. That's it. Amongst the mob rules. You can fucking...
Well, I'm actually, it's interesting because...
They give a pass for homosexual.
It's crazy, dude. The fucking shit they would do.
This Ryan Garcia talk, man.
Staying within the conversation. Do you guys believe that Mike Tyson was knocked out in prison?
It could have happened. There's tough enough dudes. There's dudes that are bigger than him that could have probably.
I remember there was
out.
that rumor going around that he had gotten knocked out in prison, and that he was taken to the
boxer doesn't automatically mean you whipping people's asses in the outside of it. I mean, it gives you a good chance, but there are some stronger guys. You're gonna meet stronger men than you, and if you happen to get into a street fight, or think about it.
Even the puny dude, a fucking kick to the nuts and shit. You know?
Yeah.
Plus, if they hit you in the fucking head with a weight, you know, they crack in the back of the head with a fucking 45-pound weight or something. It's not like they're gonna square up with Tyson and you go, okay, ready, let's do it.
One of those bullfrogs you were talking about the other day.
Ugh, gross. Those things give me nightmares.
Whoa, what bullfrogs?
Nasty. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that shit.
What did he say?
I smell them, dude. They're horrible. Ugh.
Whoa, what does that stand for, bullfrog? What are you talking about?
When they would you have milk carton, you'd grab your milk carton and you put piss, milk,
you
with
said
decay.
that.
What happens, they tape it up and then it swells from methane gas to the point it's ready to explode. So when they throw it, it hits the wall. It's just, ugh. And in the smell, I'm telling you, it gets in your nose. I was throwing up, dude. It was that bad.
When it blows up, it sounds like a bullfrog.
Exactly. It's fucking insane.
Just in time for prison stories. That's why.
Apology. You were here earlier. What the fuck happened? We introduced you and everything, and then you disappeared.
Died.
Your phone died. Well, why don't you recharge it before?
Sure about Jermaine Taylor pulling a knife to a woman's throat.
I'm not.
Well, that's Jermaine Taylor for you. What do you want?
Let's move on.
Yeah, he's been all fucked up, right, from coke. Jermaine Taylor, he's had deals with coke,
right? Getting the shit kicked out of him in the ring.
Well, wait a minute. Jermaine Taylor is from Arkansas, right?
I'm not sure who he's from.
I don't give a fuck.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of Medrick Taylor.
No. Jermaine Taylor, he's from Arkansas. Who else is from Arkansas? Think about it.
No, he's from Arkansas. I believe he's from Arkansas.
Yeah, and who else is from that
he's from
state?
The US, that's for sure. He's from the US.
Well, hold on. Who else is from?
Do you guys ever remember when he was becoming like a bit of a little star? He had like the cowboy hat on, and he said, "Deep down inside, I'm just a honky tonk man."
The fuck? What?
I said, "Get the fuck out of here! You ain't no honky tonk man."
I'm a honky tonk man. He was listening to too much Rolling Stones in that time.
Hey,
but here's my
picture with the honky tonk man. I took a picture with a real honky tonk. I was at the pawn shop, and he was out there giving pictures and signatures and shit like that.
Okay, very interesting story right there. A honky tonk man. But listen, guys, Jermaine Taylor's been fucked up in the head for a couple of times. Wasn't he swinging a gun at a parade a couple of years ago?
At a party, wasn't it?
No, he was in a parade.
He threatened, or I think he shot. I think he shot at his own cousin.
Yeah, something like that.
At a party.
I mean, you know, and I know families like this. I've known like cousins that actually killed each other. One of them, like, anyway, but you got a dysfunctional family when you're going at it with your own family members. Like, I'm not
like Miguel Cotto.
Yeah, Miguel Cotto's got issues because him and his uncle, but his uncle tried to, him and his uncle tried to like literally beat the shit out of each other, and that didn't end well. But going back to Jermaine Taylor's been fucked up, man. He's been, ever since he got knocked out by it just seemed like it got worse. Ever since he got knocked out by I want to say, what's the fucking guy's name? Kelly Pavlik.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he just kept getting knocked out afterwards. His behavior outside the ring was like crazy, man.
Bro,
was an alcoholic, huh? Oh no, wait, that was Pavlik. No, sorry.
Yeah, Pavlik was an alcoholic.
And by the way, he married a girl who used to play for the WNBA. Who? Aren't there all lesbians in there? What? How do you marry somebody from the WNBA?
Oh, you're talking about Jermaine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's like a girl.
Yeah,
the WNBA. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
What's Stewart's word for it? The feminist basketball league, I think it's called.
Yeah, something like that. You know that's all funded by men, right? They don't make a profit or any revenue on that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course not. It's all about pushing
equality and female empowerment.
Listen, I have no interest in female sports, but obviously there's some people that do. So whatever.
Mud wrestling.
Well, that yeah,
that's not a real sport.
Now we're talking. Now that's a sport that I could watch. You know.
Listen, the sports I like to watch is what's it? Open door volleyball.
Oh yeah, with their asses hanging out. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Especially the Brazilian team.
Oh man, right, with those fucking bundas they have. What do they call it? Bunda. They call it bundas.
You're the South American. You tell me. I don't know what to call them.
No, they speak Portuguese. They speak Portuguese in Brazil. Apology. Yeah. I could understand. It's crazy. I could understand it. I can understand everything they say.
Yeah, it's like
a little bit.
It's like Spanish.
It is a little bit like Spanish, but it's not. It's not exactly the same thing. But the women over there with their fucking ass transplants, and there was one woman who she put silicone in her ass, like a lot of the Brazilian women are doing, and she actually got an infection because you can't just be ramming.
You know, someone was twerking at like a carnival in the USA, and butt implants fell out completely.
Oh,
that happened at the. Okay, every year we have it's on Labor Day. It's actually going to be tomorrow. Right now they're having this thing called Juve. I think I'm saying it right. It's a West Indian Day Parade. That's what it is. It's the West Indian Day Parade. They always have it every year, and every year somebody always gets shot. But a girl, it happened at one of those Juve parties. She was like twerking or whatever.
Is that like the end of the night ceremony or?
No, the Juve is like the party.
No, just the way you said it. Every year somebody gets shot. It sounds like it's a part of the festivity.
I'm not lying. Every year, at least in New York, the West Indian Day Parade always ends up in a shootout. Maybe not in the parade, but just like leaving. First of all, it's in Brooklyn. Okay, that's where it's at. It's in Brooklyn.
Well, Boston. All the most violent gang members right now in Boston are all the Azores, the kids from the Azores, the Portuguese from, what do they call them? I can't remember the actual. But yeah, they're the kids who doing up all the shooting for the last decade here in Boston. Them and the MS-13 dudes.
They're Portuguese?
Yeah, they're from the Azores. I can't remember the name of the actual island there.
They're from Portugal itself?
Well, no. Like off the coast of Africa, there's the Azores, the Azore Islands.
Oh, okay.
We have a ton of them in Boston now, and they're the ones since like the turn of the century. They've been the big gangbangers.
Get him into boxing.
Do you hear a lot of "Sabe como son, mole"? Si que ela pequeno rapa. You hear that a lot before somebody gets shot?
Well, I don't actually see or hear. I just yeah.
When there's
when I hear that, I'll fucking run.
Yeah, listen, recognize. I don't think you understand recognize. I don't think you understand when there's more than 5 black people in the streets. Jimmy locks himself up in his house, man. He doesn't come out. You think he's out there mingling with people? Come on. All right, but listen, guys. I think we gotta end it. I don't think we can end it on a better note than Jouvert and people ending the night shooting each other. It's like a fucking throwing a virgin into a volcano back in Hawaii. It's gotta happen. The night can't end unless somebody gets shot. So it's good to know. Guys, thanks again for joining us. It was a good show. As always, I want to Recognize the Matrix. I want to thank Official Scorecard Boxing for joining us first time. I want to thank King Butch as always. El Dude, Apology Man, 3-Piece. Who else was here? Stu, who dropped that. I don't think he could take it anymore. So guys, thanks again for joining us, guys. Thanks again. And now let's give a shout out to the people in the
Good
chat
night, guys.
room. All right, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks a lot, man. As always, great show. We'll give a shout out to 100% X, always keeping it 100% real. Poe Johnson, Nino Gaggi, Simi, The Punisher. Who else we have here? Quincy Pinola. We had Brandon White as well in the beginning of the show. Sasquatch, Nino Gaggi, like I said, we degree Simi, Mateus Lisa, John Gonzalez, Roddy Davis was in here as well. Nopal Castillo, Grievous, Real News, Kiwi Boxing, and many more. You guys know who you are. Oh, and I can't forget Steven Schneider for making a generous contribution. Bucho, who else was it that made the contribution? Was it
Michael?
Michael, yes, Michael Polaco. Can't forget Michael. Michael, thanks again. Guys, don't forget, like, subscribe. We're going to be putting more film analysis for the upcoming
Check out our
big fights.
Klitschko, was Klitschko boring video.
Oh, yes.
Pretty good
Check
video,
out
yeah.
the
Let's have a debate about whether Klitschko was boring or not, because I think he was fucking boring.
Yeah, you know what we're going to do?
Having a debate.
We're going to have a special show just on that, because that did stir up a lot of debate, and we want more debate on that one. So again, guys, thanks for being on. Thanks for listening. I want to thank again all the panelists who were here, who make this show, I think, the best boxing podcast in the YouTube community. But then again, that's just my biased opinion. But then again, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.